about Judah, just so Michael doesn't get the inspiration?
Me or Judah?
I don't know. I thought it was your turn on the order, Michael, but
Oh, okay.
Judah's on the phone, so
Whoever wants to do it.
Go, Michael, go.
Okay. All right. Moonstone thinking of what brought him to this moment in time. All right, so... Oh, sorry. So after our fight, we interrogated a goblin, ransacked their base. I found some paper. That's pretty neat. Gerda seems to have picked up a lot of weapons. And after interrogating the goblin, we discovered there was a manticore in the area, and that Hammond was not with the goblin tribe. But we did find Sickle, which was nice. After asking her, she informed us that her and Hammond were attacked by some figure draped in black clothing and with a whistle to each of their movements, which was kind of frightening, and that it was likely that a poison was used against her to take her down. Fair enough. So she led us back into the direction where she did battle with this figure, and Hammond and her got separated. Went over there, and Xavier and Grotus did some looking around, and they found some brimstone. They found where the fight happened. They found where Hammond probably was abducted, and deduced that he was probably alive somewhere. And that brimstone, thanks to Kessix's bloodhound nose, I didn't know asking about that, was able to find a trail lead us to a cave where two guards were just sitting there. It was very clear to almost everyone immediately that this was the place we were looking for, and that Hammond was probably inside, and these bastards were hard to kidnap him. So after leaving and discussing what was probably going on, we deduced that it's most likely a driver trying to get Hammond out of the running for a mine, trying to keep him away from town so he can't make his claim on the mine, and thus it goes to, what was his name? Whatever his name is, I'll think of it in a moment.
Ouch.
Say again?
I said, ouch, I'm hurt. Forgotten so easily.
Dude, I've had
He
such a
took
long
1
week.
point of psychic damage.
I've had such a long week from work, please
That's
don't. So, went over there. So, after that, we decided to keep an eye on them through the night, got a rest, and then we decided to make a plan of attack. The plan was to ambush them and try to get the drop on them, maybe use Julius and Grotus as a distraction. And Julius decided to... I'll tentatively give him the benefit of the doubt and say, take an opportunity. And challenge one of them to a 1v1 fight and inform the rest that we were around. Interesting idea. Anyway, that somehow worked, and he convinced the other two to take their beaten comrade and just get the fuck out. Again, somehow worked. And then, after suggesting tentatively an idea, looking for feedback, it was decided upon that I was going to go in, disguised, and scope the place out. And now I'm standing in a room full of people who would probably kill me if they knew who I was. And see.
Sure, I'll give you an inspiration.
Thank you.
I like how you made it sound like the group decided that you were going to do this.
Someone tell the story.
I guess I should do some different music. Whatever.
I got this. Ba 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 da.
So, Moonstone. As you passed your way through the strange passage, you continued further and further for near half an hour's worth of time before finally reaching light. After passing your way through, you entered into a room seemingly a kitchen of some kind. Numerous pantries opened and somewhat stocked, as well as a few individuals sitting in front of you at a table, most likely enjoying a breakfast, as we are still within the first reaches of dawn. As you kind of enter in, one of them kind of looks to you. You luckily have disguised yourself using magic, changing your form to that of the individual that was bested in combat by your fellow. Kind of looks to you. Okay. Gives a bit of a quizzical look. You hear him. What the fuck are you doing here? You still kind of like looks. He's trying to look for a window. You still got like an hour. It's not your time to come back yet.
Sorry, and I'll just produce a water skin. Need a refill.
I'll say this will be the general deception check for attempting to mimic his voice. So make a deception check. This will basically be how well you're mimicking the voice of someone someone else.
All right.
Deception or performance? Oof.
I will use that inspiration.
Okay, that's your call.
Oh,
17. Kinda gives you a look. Yeah, sure. Just don't be passing off your work to other folk. Kinda. They look around the kitchen for a moment. He kind of gives like a jab with his thumb towards the back of the kitchen. You see there's a number of barrels stacked on top of each other. It's like, one of those should be water.
I'm just give a nod, and I'll go over and fill my water skin.
Sure. You take a time. Most of them seem to be beer, or ale, or something. But you do eventually find one that seems to be of water. You refill your water skin.
Do you have a visual for this room, just so I can get an idea of like what's in here?
I do not. I have a description. So entering into this room, as I described before, it is a kitchen. Looking around, make both a intelligence check and a perception check.
Investigation or intelligence, or what
It would be intelligence. This isn't you looking for something. This is you noticing something based on intelligence.
Okay, so intelligence
Okay.
and perception.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. So, immediately looking through, the entire structure around you is made of wood and stone. The walls seem solid enough, though as you step across, you do hear the creaks of the floorboards. Clearly, you are most likely not on a bottom floor, or from kind of what you can tell, a top floor. It seems to be that while there are planks below you, there is something kind of beneath, further hollowing, as you can hear with the creaking of the wood. By the general structure, yeah, you seem to be in a kitchen or storehouse, something repurposed to be so. There are only two entrances to this room, one that leads to a hallway that then splits off into a left and right direction, and the one that you entered from. Looking towards that entrance, you can clearly see it is this strange in the middle of the kitchen doorway. Looking to the ground beneath it, you can see there is a number of scuff and scratch marks against the wood, most likely indicating there was something in front of this at a point that has since been removed. A secret entrance of sorts that many keeps like this often have. Looking to the room itself, on either side there are pantries, lined with some food, some scraps, but clearly fresh supplies. Nothing is going rotten here. A set of casks lay if you're facing the T hallway, there's to the left of you, there's a number of kind of large kind of barrels and casks that seem to be filled with water and other liquid-based goods. And in the very center of the room is a table, able to fit about 6 people, and right now there are 3 sitting at it. Each of which bearing familiar leather armors, indicating the red horn on the right shoulder.
Alright, and so there's a total of guys in here, or there's like another one some floating around here, right?
3 guys in here that you see. Did I say 4 earlier?
I can't remember.
Okay, there's 3 guys. There's the one guy you talked to and 2 other that are also seemingly eating a breakfast. Judging with that perception of 14 was high enough, you do hear that very much it sounds alive. You can kind of hear just slightly voices down either of the hallways. You can assume, based on the general geography of where you were, you are most likely within the base that you slept outside of, but 2 nights prior.
Oh. Okay. Noted. Alright, once I
With a
finish...
17 intelligence also, I'll give this to you, because I understand it's been a week, and this may have been forgotten. The men that Julius beat were allowed to live, and were allowed to leave.
God damn it! God
They were
damn
going
it.
anywhere to mend their wounds, a base would be the prime place. Judging by the structure of the pathway that you took, most likely this was faster than any way through the woods that they could have taken. But you would know that there is definitely a chance that they will return.
Shit.
Just to be aware. You don't know how long it'll take. You know you definitely have some time still, because yours was a straight path. They had to walk around the cliffside and kind of through the woods, which was a much more difficult path, while also carrying a knocked out individual.
So I would like to take just one moment real quick, because I was messaging Heath that Kessex is going to stand up from leaning up against the rock, listening into the cave, and just be like, what if they come back? Like, with more.
Grodus looks at Kessex, looks over at Julius, looks at the rest of the party. I hate to say it, but I didn't really think of that at the time.
Neither did I. It was just the thought that occurred a moment ago.
In fact, discussing that as well, are we even sure this is the only entrance to this cave?
I cannot be sure on that.
Is it possible,
Whoa.
and I'm just going to point this out there, that while he's pretending to be one of them guards in there, they actually, the guy who he's pretending to look like walks in and sees him?
I mean, to be fair, this ain't exactly the type of, what do you call it, operation that you do with a large party. You know, with them, I don't think they're going to bring back no more.
Well, I mean, under my suspicion that I voiced earlier, I'm trying very hard. I want to take a moment real quick, Chris, that I was not being meta. I literally messaged Heath.
He did. We were having the discussion about. It's like, yeah, bring it up after the scene because that's a funny thing to talk about.
I'll believe you on this one.
I just thought about how the guards might have left to go get more help. But as I brought it up on the way over here, if they're working for the leader of that town, they would have nowhere else to go but to them to get more help and come back. Like I said, I believe this operation isn't just them, but a conspiracy.
So what you're saying is that we're kind of fucked.
I believe that is the layman's term, yes.
Well, shit.
Well, in that case, are we better off just moving into the cave now? I mean, he's been gone. Moonstone's been gone for a while already, and...
Well, yeah, we don't know how deep that motherfucker is.
I was about to ask, Gullo had been keeping an ear out for, screams or sounds of combat or anything.
Yep.
Should I do a roll for that?
No,
okay.
Nothing would have come down. He is way too far away to even hear from that side.
Okay. He'll just pipe up and say,
So
we have a couple options then. We can go now, knowing that we are pressed for time. We are simply looking for Hellmen. We don't know how many are in there. Or we can go back to Teleburg and look into the matter, get some information, see who else he may be working with, I should say.
Oh god, I have to say this out of character, but when me and Dylan were texting, I was also like, there's a possibility we just leave Moonstone behind to die and leave when we discover that option.
If we go back now, we will most likely cross paths with them, or whatever they are bringing. If we stay here, we will ruin Moonstone. Or if we, stay here, we will get pincered. And if we move in, ruin whatever Moonstone has.
Quick question. Jim, they moved away from the town, though, right?
Yes, they went west. The town is currently east.
And the town's not nearby. It's hours away still,
The
correct?
town's still about
It's
2 or 3 hours away. Yes.
Yeah, so even if they went the right way, they wouldn't be back for 4 to 6 hours, probably longer by the time they gather men, so that's not the concern at the moment.
Okay.
Grotus, let's go. I don't think they'll be going reinforcements in town. I'm more worried they'll get another way in there and alert the guards that we're here.
So
They might even kill
should we-
Hellman just straight out if they figure out that their plans are blown for all we know.
I don't believe they will kill him. I think that would have been their first option if that was an option.
Ain't he a bit too renowned to kill?
Well,
I
here's
didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. What did you say?
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Oh, right. No, I was just saying that, ain't he a bit too renowned to kill?
Yeah, that was my concern, is that they can't just kill him, or they would have just done it.
Yeah, so I don't think that'll be an option. I don't know, guys. I think that Moonstone probably knows what he's doing. I'm sure he'll get out of it alive. And well.
To be fair, I'm
Then
gonna
we-
look. Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Grotus
no,
will look
go
over
ahead.
at Sickle. What does Sickle think of all this? Because she's still with us, as far as I'm aware.
Sickle has recovered a bit from her injuries, and there is this very she's just been watching the area and watching the hole. For her general, you get a sense that she's probably not the planning type. You get a sense you could probably guess what she wants to do.
Probably
Barbarians are typically not the planning types.
Lizard folk are typically not the planning types.
That too.
It
Grotus
is a
Ozo.
bad mix.
And maybe perhaps our best bet is to move in now then. Because if we wait out here.
How are you faring? And you as well, Julius.
Me going into my sheet because I can't remember.
You were down 11 hit points or something last I saw. Oh yeah, you used your healing hand though.
Yeah. I'm a little hurt, but I can continue on.
I believe if you think this is the best course of option, I think we wait long enough to tend to our wounds and then we move in. That should give Moonstone sufficient time to accomplish whatever he's accomplishing, if he does, and not leave him completely open to danger.
That sounds like a plan. Gallo, how about the pair of you then take a guard out while me and Julius take a bit of a rest? The three of you can keep guards up if you don't need it.
I mean, you guys can keep a watch while doing a short rest. Short rest isn't passing out. Short
No,
rest is just
that's
not doing anything. But you can always be keeping an eye out. That's
Fair
not
enough,
stop.
In any case, Gallo's our best scout right now. So.
Probably, yes.
So then, with Moonstone going in and checking out the place, would that have been enough time for a short rest?
You
By
need
the time
about
it
half
gets-
an hour more.
Yeah,
I think we're in the middle of it right
You gotta
now.
hit the hour mark, and then you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'd
basically,
probably say about half hour. Keswick's probably piped up and goes, "Wait a minute."
yeah, exactly. That's fair because that's what we did.
Keswick and Moonstone had the same exact thought at the same exact time.
If anything, I don't need to rest, so if I move forward... I
Perhaps-
haven't heard movement.
Grotus-
However,
Nope.
I don't know how many people are in there. I can't message him.
Us
Well-
sticking together out here might be the best option. There's
I have
we
a
have no way to disguise ourselves.
I have a secondary idea possibly as well for the three of you not resting. Yeah, it looks over at the three of you, realizes what he's about to say, double thinks what he's about to say, or not possibly, but we could set up a bit of an ambush over the top of the cave here. If a simple rockfall trap, if the three, those of you with range, push the rocks down upon their heads, if they're coming out to get us, might slow them down
Wait.
enough.
Wait a second. Ain't Moonstone made to look like one of them? What if we accidentally crush Moonstone?
Well, we know what Moonstone looked like going in, right?
Yeah, every single damn generic one of them.
I'm
I
just
have
gonna
seen
look.
Moonstone. coming out
Wow,
this way,
hurtful.
he would be.
I would say Grodus will look at it and goes, I didn't think all humans looked alike to humans.
Nah, I'm not good with faces, alright? Damn.
He looked like a very specific person. We'd be able to mostly pick him out. The problem with this plan, though, is we either need to... Well, we could find a way to alert everyone who's in there to come out, but we need to make a big enough commotion that would require all of them to come out, and who knows how many there are.
Oh, no, I'm not
Most
saying
likely, though. Most likely, not all of them will come out. And he gives a little nod of acknowledgement from his interruption. Just, if we're just going to sit here and wait for one to pop out slowly, it's wasting a bit of daylight, isn't it?
Hey, I wasn't expecting one to pop out. I was more expecting worst case scenario. We see a Catman running for his life being chased by 20 or 30 guards, and then we push the rocks on him when he gets through.
Well, that works.
Chris, how high up is the cliff?
It's about 15, 20 feet.
Okay, so I can go up there, set some rocks, tie one rock to a rope so you can pull it from down here, right?
You can certainly do that, yeah.
Okay, then they go.
The idea is just to create something that would bludgeon someone and not block the cave, yes?
Yeah, we're just like
Okay.
20, 30-pound rocks like you do when you push them off castle walls to crush people.
I get you, yeah. You wouldn't be able to take a short rest if you're going to be setting up this trap.
I do not need to.
Sure.
I figured the people who didn't need short rest being Zig,
Yeah,
three of us didn't, so...
I just wanted to make it clear.
Yeah.
In my head, none of us have to be up there for this. Because if I can position some rocks up there on top of like a bigger boulder and then pull the rope that pulls the boulder, or you, because I'm not strong.
Yeah, it would be. This would be like you could either have someone up there where it wouldn't be a check. You would just be able to activate it, or if you want to do it down here, it would be like a strength check of probably like a DC of. If you're looking you could try to reduce the DC by doing a intelligence check while making it to essentially have it set like you have tied a rope to like a keystone that'll start to have everything fall.
That's what I intended, and then if everybody's okay with it, I will probably just go. I get what you're saying, Grodus. I have an idea, and I will climb up the hill and begin doing that.
For sure. So it's easy enough. You're in a forest, finding rocks, that kind of stuff. You can definitely find enough just to bludgeon a man. It was going to be difficult if you were looking to, find enough rocks to block the entrance. But so that's easily done. You kind of set them up and attempt to stack them in a way that they are vulnerable to be pulled down. I'm assuming you have 50 feet of rope in your inventory.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. So make a intelligence check. We'll say the total DC will be 22, and then your intelligence will reduce the strength check to be something of it'll be essentially on minus whatever you roll in your intelligence check, and that will be whatever the DC is for the strength check to pull it down.
All right.
19. Yeah, you get it kind of like where you the only thing that you have it that's kind of like keeping them from moving forward is just maybe like a spare blade or something from like the goblin hideout. Like it's just like this thin little piece, and as soon as you pull that, about probably like 20 pounds of rocks are going to fall like 20 feet onto someone.
Yep. Kessex will come down at the end of that, and he will very gingerly hand Grodus the rope.
Some fine dying work there, friend.
Yeah, it's we once had to collapse a couple arches, my master and I, on top of a few bullets, so this is a similar concept.
I used to make traps like these when I used to go out camping as well. They're very useful, but that's a damn good one.
I appreciate it. Your compliment is very much accepted. Accepted is not the right word. I guess appreciated. Accepted sounds douchey.
I'll accept the compliment from the half-orc.
I mean, could be just that Kessex is very socially awkward.
But no, it's your compliment is appreciated.
Hey. Okay, so we're all set up. Anybody else need to say anything?
How much rope do I need to get rid of, Chris? Like 20 feet?
Yeah, we'll say it's just 20 feet.
Okay.
So, for clarification, we're hoping that these rocks will drop on top of the enemy
Just give us a bit of an edge in the fight, yeah?
I think that's
If
the
it
plan.
comes this way, yeah.
And how do we know for certain if they won't either dodge out of it or that they'll miss entirely?
There's no
We know.
guarantee, but it's at least a distraction, if nothing else.
My concern here, though, is while we're waiting, Moonstone is scouting about, but once he comes back, will we be moving in and doing our own work, assuming that we find
Most.
signs of Hellman?
If Hellman's in there, that's probably the best bet, is to move in and take care of this.
But in the event of a retreat or Moonstone comes out of this cave running, at least we have a plan. As moderate as it may be.
Question. Since we noticed that two of those gentlemen had crossbows, even if Moonstone is on the faster side, are we certain that he won't get shot down by arrows?
Oh, no, there's a good chance he's already dead for all we know. This is just a backup.
Wait, what?
I told him that going in
That's the
there.
other concern.
I think we should go in.
I mean,
I
I don't know.
I
I have
believe-
confidence.
Yeah, I believe allowing us time to tend our wounds would be the best option. That's just my personal opinion. I know I'm still relatively new to this group and can't speak much on it, but
I think you got the point there, Tessix. Besides, if there's trouble, I'm sure we'll hear it before anything occurs.
Alright, if you're certain.
Julius,
Hmm.
you trust in Moonstone, right?
I do, but it is not about whether or not I trust him, more that understanding the scenario.
Percentage and certainty, and there is much uncertainty.
Exactly.
There ain't nothing wrong with worrying. I'm just saying. He was really insistent, and, well, man carries tubes of weird shit on him at all times. I'd assume he knows how to at least make a plan. Have some faith, alright?
Exactly. I'm sure I'll be fine.
It's not that I'm lacking in faith. It is more that
Julius, tell me. Would you run in there if the rest of us weren't there?
repeat that.
Would you run inside of that cave had you made that realization and the rest of us weren't here to talk you down otherwise?
If you weren't here to talk me down, would I have run in there with that line of thinking?
Yes.
Well, I would have thought it over first, and if it seemed that this is possibly a very dangerous plan, then yes, I would have gone in.
Fortunately, there ain't much of a plan without risk. At least that's what I know. I
Gross.
don't know. Calculated risks are kind of a part of my life, so.
It's mostly that understanding that there's a safety net. I mean, I'm not going to kid anyone. I know my decision to walk up to them was not the smartest, but I knew that there was the safety net of the fact that I was surrounded by a bunch of other capable fighters. Moonstone, on the other hand, is down there on his own.
I'm sure he'll be fine. The fact of the matter is, the boy's smart enough to run out of there in case things get too gruff.
And
Well,
that's why I was saying, can he outrun arrows?
The thing about crossbows, and this'll work in his favor, once they fire once, they'll have to reload, giving him plenty of time to make the distance further. Plus, if I peek in, is it dark in there?
Yes.
Plus, I don't think if most of them are humans, they won't be able to even get a good beat on them.
That's fair.
I side with Julius on this just a bit. He is running a 30-minute distance. Well,
To be
40
fair,
minutes
You guys
now.
don't
we
know
don't know how
deep it
far
is.
in the cave. For all we know, he's been talking to them for 30 minutes. And it's
Okay.
like 5 minutes
They're
in.
actually very good conversationalists, and very smart, Moonstone's having a delightful time.
Yeah, we have no idea what's going on in that cave. We have no idea how deep it is. We don't know nothing.
Julius, you have. Or sorry, go ahead.
I said we were just deciding to take an hour the hour short rest because Julius needs a short rest.
Not to mention, why else do you think that Xavier's not worried at all? For all he knows, this was a 5-minute trip, and they're having a great time.
Yeah.
Kessex will say to Julius that Julius, you have a virtuous heart. In my short time with you, much has been apparent at the very least. But as we trusted in you, you must trust in Moonstone. You must wait as we did as well. As you've shown, bad situations can turn out good.
He kind of has this like kind of concerned furrow to his brow. Again, it's not a matter of trust, but if all of you insist, then I will stay my hand on the matter.
As we said, he'll be fine. I mean, I've seen the boy run. He's good, and he'll get out of there.
Stay your hand and ready your blade.
Julius will return to and take a seat. We're waiting.
Alright. So, Moonstone.
So,
Filled
filling
your
my
water
water
skin.
skin. Yep, having this revelation. These guys aren't really looking at me, right?
No. They're mostly discussing their breakfast.
Alright.
Eating what seems to be primarily gruel.
Alright, and you said was a secret passage here at some point, but now it's just an open door, yeah?
Yeah, the path you came through was most likely like essentially an escape route for whoever once owned this keep. But yeah, now it's just open.
Can I try to, like, not gathering their attention, kind of like, just do that thing where you just kind of blend into the background and just sort of like slip off into that other hallway, because I realize, oh shit, this is gonna light up like a fucking Christmas tree soon.
So, are you attempting to go back the way you came, or to go to the T-section hallway?
The T-section hallway, but, kind of like in that form of nonchalant, just sort of
Yep.
like, you know how you can kind of like go invisible as long as you don't
I get you.
attract attention? Yeah.
Of course, this will be a stealth check, though.
Does my armor not make me disadvantaged because this is just background noise to them at this point?
The unfortunate is the noise it's going to bring them... They don't wear scale mail, dude.
Shit.
They all wear leathers.
Ah! Whoops.
And you look like you're wearing leathers right now. So you would be a disadvantage, unfortunately.
Alright.
Oi, your leather sounds super funny, mate.
16! You wait for a moment, you kind of take a couple drinks of the water skin, fill it up one more time. And you hear one of them, he just starts like mocking the other one, laughing to like as loud as he can. The other one's threatening to bludgeon him to death for it. You don't exactly get what in that moment they're talking about, as he's just mocking his fellow. But in that moment, there's like that bit of a distraction, you kind of just pass your way. Do you want to go left or right?
So what's down both hallways?
That you can see. The hallways lead probably around about maybe 40 feet in both directions. Each of them has a room or two that seem to be closed. You're not sure as to exactly where they lead, and then both of them head north, like head upwards. It would be still north, but yeah. Both of the hallways then turn to head north.
I got half an hour before my disguise fades, so...
Yes. Or, well, you can recast that without issue.
Yeah. Alright, I will go right and just...
Sure.
Yeah,
So on the right side is the path with only a single door. That is kind of to the north side.
Alright, and looking around, there's no one in these hallways, right?
No one immediately.
Alright. Can I just try to peep through, like, the keyhole or something and try to see if there's anyone in there?
Sure. Kind of placing yourself against the keyhole, just roll a perception check. A 6? It's hard to tell. The room is very dark, and while you do have dark vision, it's hard to discern amongst colors of gray. You can tell for certain there's no light in this room.
Okay. I'll move on.
Okay. As you continue down the pathway, you eventually reach where it curves towards the north. looking towards the north, you see there are a few more doors kind of on the what would be like kind of your west side. Two of which, like one where you start this turn, one at the end of this turn, which is about 40 feet away from you, and this very large door at the center. You also notice on the right side there is a set of stairs. It's kind of a simple like crisscrossing staircase, one that goes up a level and one that goes down. You do notice that there are two other people in this hallway, both of which seem to be given some kind of guard duty to stand by that center door.
Alright. I will start heading down.
You want to head down? Sure.
Let me know when I'm starting to get close to my time being over.
Sure. No, like, the walking through the fort isn't taking much time at all. Like, it's, all these distances, like I said, like, the fort itself is probably about what you gather, probably a couple stories tall, and then it's, like, literally, like, maybe 50 feet by 50 feet.
Actually,
Like, it's not a large fort.
Actually, just given my general knowledge, would I have any idea where cells may be in these sorts of places?
Your general knowledge for architecture isn't great. I'll say you can make an intelligence check with a DC of 15.
Okay.
As it's also, you can easily make assumptions.
Okay.
15, the DC. You would get a sense, most of the time, for any kind of containment. Keep them in a place where it is the hardest to escape from, usually meaning that the walls are most solid, usually meaning a place below ground.
Okay, so yeah, I'll continue heading underground.
Sure. So, heading your way to the right, the guards simply give you a nod, just a little nod and shake. They don't pay you much mind. They seem to be just in charge of kind of this center room. You head your way down. Immediately as you get kind of to the bottom, you notice there's only one pathway. It leads directly across to the west, and at the very end of it, at about maybe, like I said, about 80 feet down, you can see what looks to be a staircase. You assume that to be the other side that then leads up back onto the main floor. Looking to the rooms, you notice that there is a number of doors on the north side facing of this hallway. There's only one door on the south side facing of this hallway, and it is much larger and made primarily of metal.
I'll head towards the south side.
Sure. As you press that way and eventually get to the south side door, it's locked.
Anyone around?
None that you see.
Alright. Shit, I probably should have asked Gallus for his thieves' tools before I left. Could I reason that my tinkerer's tools could work here as well?
Disadvantaged, maybe?
There's a hold on. There's an ability that you have that's something like this. Hold on. What book is it? That is Eberron, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you're thinking of is the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is I had to take a short rest to change my alchemist tools back into thieves' tools.
Okay.
I can double check that for you, but
Tinker's tools. It's. I would have to you would have the thin pieces of metal. They definitely aren't like pins that you'd need for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd also say it's not technically impossible. So you could roll at disadvantage.
To help Michael's case, I picture like hammers and screwdrivers, and you
Yeah, no, that's
apart. Yeah.
I'm not I can imagine maybe like a thin chisel. Like there's definitely some things there, but it's definitely not the correct tool.
Alright, so thieves' tools. What modifier do you want me to use? Intelligence, dexterity.
This would be dexterity. This would be a dexterity check at disadvantage.
Okay.
$11. Well, actually, it'd be lower. It's not. You don't get your Tinker's Tools proficiency because this is not a Tinker's check.
Oh, I'm proficient in thieves' tools too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say then that's fine to keep it as at 5. But at 11, you kind of jingle it for a bit. It's a bit larger than you need the right tools. You get a sense.
All right. Just here. Can I just see what's on the other side of that door? Just peering through the keyhole.
Make another perception check. A 6.
Damn it.
It's Very dark. You do see the faint essences of light, but not enough to tell what's on the other side.
I will. Can I take a look around just on this bottom floor to see if there's a pair of keys that I could look for?
Sure. Roll a general investigation check.
Alright. There we
22. Go. So, like I said, there are 4 doors on the northern side, and a hallway that simply connects the west side and east side staircases. Looking through the doors, you notice that the 2 on the right side seem to be primarily storehouses, or storing rooms. For the most part, they're pretty bare. One of them seems to be in slight use, and is holding what you would assume to be either spare weapons, spare armors, or the tools they would use to repair such things. Whetstone, scraps of metal, leathers, threads and needles, like things you would use to repair what they all usually wear. The other one, as I said, is completely bare. It's a room about maybe 10 by 10 feet. Looking to the 2 on the west side, these look like at one point they would have been bunks of some kind. With a 22, you notice only one of them seems to have any occupants. There are 2 men, both sleeping within the within the westmost room. Each room has about 8 beds that you can see. With a 22, you get a sense most of these are probably in use, but seeing as you're in the morning, not a lot of people are using them right now. And the 2 men sleeping here are most likely the ones that were on watch last night. Or some of them, at least.
But no keys?
You look through their belongings as quietly as you can. They're sleeping, so it's not hard to move past them. You see leathers, personal possessions. No keys.
Alright.
At this point, you've got probably about 20 more minutes on your spell.
Okay. I will... If I were to take off my armor and put on some leather armor, how long would that take?
I think it's
Let's
5
pull out the
minutes.
players.
I think it's 5 minutes to doff the armor, but...
I believe that's correct. But let's find out.
I got it right here for you. I got my... it takes... Light armor...
So he wants to
takes
doff
5
medium
minutes.
armor.
It takes 1 minute to doff and 1 minute to put on light.
How long does it take to doff medium, though? Because he's wearing scales.
1 minute. 1 minute. It takes 5
1
minutes
minute?
to put on, 1 minute to take off. Heavy armor is 5 minutes to take off.
Ah, okay. So you certainly could. Like I said, it would take 2 minutes.
I will do that real quickly.
Okay.
It's very odd to anyone looking at this if they were to walk in.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
As you just cling
Just-
off.
Yeah, also keeping an ear out for anyone approaching.
For sure. For the sake of this, I'll say make a stealth check, just a flat roll.
Okay.
Why do you think doff is a stupid word, Kes?
It just sounds wrong.
21. Yeah, you manage. You kind of get to the other side of the room. You take off your own armor. Are you going to take one of the armors of the men sleeping, or are you going to go back to the storeroom?
I'm back to go to the storeroom. I'm not gonna fuck with them.
I assumed, but I wanted to check. You head back to the storeroom. Are you gonna? I'm guessing you're just gonna put your armor in your bag.
Yeah, my toolbox of holding.
Oh, right, you've got that. Yeah, easy enough. You take a set of what seems like well-maintained. They are studded leather armors that the red horns use.
All right.
You can adorn it as you like. It fits for the most part. Human physiology and tabaxi are slightly different. Tabaxi having much thinner bodies, but you tighten the belts enough that it doesn't matter.
Okay, so with 18 minutes of my spell left, I'm going to... So I've already checked this floor. I can't find any keys. I imagine if I was also looking around, I'd see thieves' tools if they just happen to be lying around. So,
Definitely not in this storeroom, if that's what you're asking.
yeah, so I will, I'll head back up. I'll head back up another floor and start
Okay.
looking around again. If I get to the point where I got 5 minutes left on my spell, I'm going to try to find a bathroom or something like that where I can change again.
Sure. So are you going to go up the west staircase, which is the one you haven't been to yet, or the east staircase?
West.
Okay. Roll a d6 for me.
D6. Oh no.
2. You see what looks to be. So as you kind of go up the top of the stairs, you see there is only one guard at this door. You do notice there is another man in the hall that is simply walking to what you assume to be his quarters. The west side is very much a mirrored version of the east side. You see the larger door that leads to what's most likely a center chamber of some kind. 2 doors facing the west, one on either side of the staircase, and the staircase continues to head up 1 floor.
And you said there's only one guard at this door.
Only one guard, yeah.
Does he look more ornate than anyone else?
Looking towards him, he seems to be more experienced, perhaps. He's of elder years as a half-elf, to a point that he might be suffering some physical kind of lack, but he's got a couple scars across his face. Like, he seems like he's definitely experienced, but maybe not... He's not more well dressed, or he's not wearing like different. He's still wearing like the standard stuff for the red brands or red horns.
All right. And he's all right. And so I have the center chamber. You said there were doors. What other doors do I have off to my sides again?
Like I said, you've got one north of the staircase, one south of the staircase. That's very much a mirror to the room, to the other side of the building that you were on.
Alright. I will head to the room to the north of the staircase.
Sure. You kind of head your way over there. You open the room. Primarily, this room looks like it may have served as an office for someone at some point, but has gone completely decrepit. No one has claimed it. What remains of its bookshelf and desk are heavily rotted away. You imagine this room has been primarily unaltered since its time before the fort was retaken by the Red Horns recently.
No, I'll just close the door.
Sure.
Just go.
Looking towards the north, you do see that it curves around, kind of most likely forming a perfect square with the rest of these hallways.
Can I head up?
Sure. Heading up, you notice roll me another d6.
Not the 2.
A 2. Heading up, you eventually reach where it turns a corner. Looking at the most northern hallway of the first floor, you see what is a very large door on the north side facing. You most likely guess that leads outside. It is currently slightly ajar to allow people to come in and go freely. You see kind of at the opposite end of it, facing south, there is another set of doors that lead into what you imagine to be a main room. Once again, 2 people kind of sitting out front of it, though they more seem to be guarding the front door.
Alright, so...
They seem to be playing a game of cards, like just slightly with each other, while passing time.
Alright, so in that main room is probably like a mess hall or something like that?
Yeah, you'd assume it to be a mess hall, a war room, probably a general gathering area, and mostly like these are just the people that are on guard in the fort, but not outside it. You know, might as well do something with them while they're here, kind of thing.
Got it. All right. And do any of the people I've passed right now seem to have keys on them, like a king ring?
As far as you've seen, no.
Okay. Alright. And there's no more floors up, no more floors down?
No, there's still floors up. You only went back to the main floor.
Oh, okay. I'll go up another floor.
Sure. Heading back to the staircase, it's a bit odd, and you notice it now as you start to head upwards. This staircase, its railings seem to have been removed, almost making it a bit more dangerous and a bit wider. But you're easily able to go. Immediately, you are greeted with a much smaller area. From what you can see, it's similar to the room you saw before, or the kind of like how the basement's layout was. It's just a hall from west to east. A room on 2 rooms on the north side, 1 room on the south side, and you can clearly see what looks to be most likely doors to the outside. at either end of the hallway. So there's one right by where you are, and there's one most likely on the other side. You imagine these would lead to the top of the fort, where you have seen them have archers placed.
All right, and knowing my and just from my rule from earlier, would I have any idea what, generally speaking, what the top floor is usually used for?
You would get a sense probably living quarters of kind of higher ups.
In that case, I will.
Also, roll me a d4.
I'm scared that you keep having me roll these dice.
They're just encounter tables. A 3. You notice as you kind of look towards that door that faces outwards. Once again, almost similar into the way that the staircase was slightly altered. The door itself as well. The door has been completely removed, and the frame of it has been also removed and made much wider. You're kind of curious as this for a moment, and then you probably get a no. Well, this leads to the outside.
Okay.
But yeah, you're immediately apparent as to why they may have widened this as a familiar Minotaur kind of starts moving her way in. You see what looks to be you can smell the remains of what is tobacco smoke across her fur. The same massive axe kind of strapped to the back. You watch as while the frame of this door has been widened, she still has to kind of squeeze through, and she kind of looks to you. You're in my way, Roderick. Move.
And I'll just step to the side.
Yeah, you do so, and you watch the heavy hooves kind of step by. You see most of her body has to kind of like lean off of where the staircase is, where the railing would be, and you get a sense, yeah, this was just altered so that she could move easily throughout the fort in certain places.
Does she have keys on her?
Make a perception check.
Oh no.
Guys, I'm getting a really bad idea.
Oh no.
A 13. Most of her, she only wears armor. There's not really much clothing to obscure it. And you can see very clearly there are a number of things tied to belts. There's a tankard, a water skin, a small kind of almost like fanny pack-esque bag, but it's on the back side. And you do see on the on her kind of right hip there is a small key ring with 3 keys on it.
As she's passing by, as I stand aside, can I try? Do they look secure, or do they look like I could lift them reasonably from her?
They look like they're kind of tied by leathers. It would be you could pull it off. It's not something that's locked and chained. It is slightly secured by leather, so it would raise the DC a bit.
Am I thinking that this is incredibly difficult, or this is
moderately difficult?
Moderately, so.
You get a sense that she will most likely have a small boost to her perception roll, or to her baseline perception, which is you attempting, because you have to use 2 hands to do this. You have to essentially kind of unwrap the leather and then pull it off.
I will attempt to take the keys off her while she is passing me.
Sure thing. Roll a sleight of hand check.
Moonstone fucking
Oh,
died.
25!
Never mind.
God is with me!
You beat the 17 DC.
Oh, shit.
You
Really
son of
died,
a
man.
bitch.
That was risky.
You kind of watch, and there's this moment where you kind of watch her, and it's not that she's afraid, but there is a very she has to take a careful step to get down these stairs, and you watch she kind of reaches up and almost has to kind of grip onto the wall to kind of steady herself and just very watch her footing. And in that one moment you kind of move with a claw. You don't even bother unwrapping it, you just cut it and pull, and it just comes free.
Okay. How much time do I got left to my spell?
Probably about 15 minutes.
Okay.
We'll say a bit less, 13.
Okay. I'll just wait a couple seconds for her to pass, and then I will again just make my way back down to the basement.
Sure. You kind of wait for a bit. You hear her. It seems most likely that she goes back outside because she's not a quiet person. You can hear where she steps and moves. You're just heading down the staircase next to you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna I'm basically gonna work my way back to the bottom floor again. Back
For sure.
To, where the
for the sake of this, roll me one more d6.
Oh dear.
You hit the magic number.
Does someone want to give me an inspiration for that?
It's not a
You're
D20,
down,
man.
unfortunately. Inspirations are only on d20s.
Help me!
I don't see
As-
the problem.
As you move your way down, and right as you're finishing passing by the main floor, you hear panicked calls in the distance. We need help! One of us is down!
I'm gonna go and find just a place where the corner is, and I'm going to just I'm just basically gonna find an empty. I'm gonna go back to that empty room as I'm on the main floor, the one that no one has been in. And there's no one down that hallway looking, right?
On the main floor, or on? Okay,
No.
you're gonna,
Like
or
just
in the basement. You saw
in
the
the
empty rooms.
yeah,
Okay.
Do I get to the empty room?
Yeah, you get to the empty room.
I'm going to disguise self as one of the people who are no, not them as who are sleeping.
Okay. You do so. Within the kind of few minutes it takes for this kind of to raise, this alarm to raise, you immediately hear a number of footfalls above you, including the heavy footsteps of Squash.
Do they sound like they're coming downstairs?
No. They sound like... You actually hear what sounds like Squash going back upstairs.
Okay. I'm going to, assuming the coast is clear, make my way over to that locked door.
Okay.
Do I need the keys?
You do have the keys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do I-
You get your way to the locked door. It's easy enough. You're on the same floor, is it?
Mhm.
What do you do?
I'm gonna try to open it with one of the keys.
Sure. Roll me a d3. 3 keys, buddy.
3.
Hey, you got the 3. You kind of put the key in. It opens. Inside, you see what is a single low-burning sconce, as well as 2 moderately sized cages, or jail cells, essentially, to your left and to your right. It seems, for the most part, to be very quiet and undisturbed, though you do notice what looks to be there is some food outside of the western cage jail cell.
Looking over there, do I see Hammond?
Looking in, as you kind of peer through, you do see, though he is much worse for wear, a familiar gnomish figure. The same white hair and kind of mustache goatee that he's got going on. You
Wait, I
see
thought it was
that
a
his...
halfling. Sorry.
Oh, is Helmet a half? Hold on, let me double check.
Ham was a halfling, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I've got too many of these like artificers that are either halflings or gnomes. They're basically the same race. Anyway,
As someone who plays a gnome, I'm offended.
but you see the same halfling figure. He is bound. Like his arms are like shackled together, and he is completely asleep.
I will just... There's no one else in the room, right?
No one else in the room. Though you do hear panicked movements above.
Alright, I'm gonna very quickly go over to his cell, and just try to open one of the doors.
Sure. You only have 2 keys to choose from. One of them does work.
And I will just open it and very, shake him awake and just go, shh!
Sure.
Hammond.
You go. You shake him. He doesn't wake.
Check his balls. Is he alive?
Roll a medicine check.
Shit.
A 10. You could place your ear to his chest. He has been stripped and is only in breeches. Feet are bare, hands are bare. His heart is beating. There are some minor wounds on him, but nothing too serious.
Alright. I will... And I can't wake him up?
Try as you might. With the shaking? Nope, doesn't wake up.
Alright. He's got 10 minutes of air. Alright. I will put him into the toolbox of holding.
Right, you just killed our employer. You realize that's a vacuum, right? That means if he's not holding his breath, he dies immediately.
Yes, you would know this.
No, it says in the thing, you have 10 minutes of air in there.
No,
You do.
Yeah.
No, there is 10 minutes of air.
Oh.
But he is not holding his breath.
Now, is that 10 minutes of air without holding his breath, or is that 10 minutes of air...
Let's look at the exact wording that the bag of holding says.
Because my whole
It's kinda
plan
weird,
hinged
like you
on
have
that.
to.
This is insane. The numbers you have rolled 3 times
You know-
in a row. You got the exact
Breathing creatures inside the bag can survive up to a number of minutes equal to 10 divided by the number of creatures, after which they begin to suffocate. So 10 minutes, and then he begins to suffocate.
I can work with that. Alright. I will... Yeah, I will... Fuck it, yeah, I'll put him in the bag of holding.
Sure. It's not an easy thing to do, wrestling with a halfling body to then like stuff into a bag, because bags usually aren't made to fit people in them. You gotta kind of move him around. He might feel sore when he wakes up.
Yeah,
I thought bags of holding didn't have any air. Weird. They must have changed that from 3E.
Potentially, yeah. I never played 3, so I can tell you. But you get him in a bag of holding.
I will very quickly make my way back to the back entrance.
Sure. Are you taking the west staircase, the east?
Which one's closer?
They're both the same distance.
Well, which one's closer to the foreground, like where all that commotion was happening?
Would be west, because that's where you assume Squash went looking for you.
Okay, I will go east then.
Sure. As you do, you kind of move out the door and start heading towards the east. As you reach the staircase, you realize there's already somebody on it. And as he moves his way down, you see what is a red-skinned tiefling. He is decently middle-aged. You'd guess maybe 40s or 50s. His face is heavily scarred, though much of it is attempted to be hidden under what is a bit of like kind of the hair on his head, as well as a very thick kind of goatee that grows around, though many of the scars still show through. He's wearing pure black leather armors under simple clothing, and you notice a rapier at his side, and on top of his head, you see 2 massive red horns that twist and curl the same way the insignia on the red horn's armor looks. And he steps down, and as he kind of looks, as he was coming down the staircase before you made it, the door is still open behind you.
I was about to say I closed the door, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
You gotta speak up for those things.
Okay, I didn't. Okay.
Because I can't guarantee that you are lying to me on that one. I'm sorry, but...
No, I understand.
Roll a 1d2.
Yeah, you know what? I'll give you that. Roll a 1d... Oh, here. Call high or low, and I'll roll.
How does that work?
AD.
High or low? Just...
If you call it right, I go with the thing you want.
Okay. Well, what's high? Just 11 and up?
Yes, 11 to 20 is high, 1 to 10 is low.
I will call low.
That is an 18.
Shit.
Oof.
Shit.
Door's wide open.
Door's
will
wide
look
open.
at
I tried, buddy.
I will look at him and just say, the prisoners escaped.
You have no idea what this fucker sounds like. None. No idea. This guy was asleep.
This was a sleeper. No, you did not.
No, because you said they were the guys who were on watch before him.
No. These were the guys. You assume these are the guys that are on the watch of the walls. These aren't the guys on the watch there.
Shit. That's shit. Okay. That was my misconception.
Roll a deception check.
Oh dear.
Alright.
For what it's worth, I believe in you.
Oh, let's see.
Nope.
Someone want to give me an inspiration?
I don't think
I
anybody
don't
has
have
any
one.
left, man. We blew them
We
all.
don't have any.
I think Dylan, do you got one?
Oh, whoops. I left the game. Hold on.
Dylan, you got one?
I
Is Dylan
don't-
there?
I don't think
I
he's
don't
got
think he
it, man.
did.
He did. Nobody's got it. We blew them all.
Thought someone had one.
Well, you're
Sorry,
out of
hold
luck,
on. I
then.
accidentally launched myself out of the game.
Enough
Pretty much.
move.
Fate has decided.
I told you, man. You kept pushing further and further. It was gonna happen.
Nah, man. Listen. What were our other options at this point? We let the fuckers go, and now we're on high
Retreating
alert.
with the keys.
Yeah, you could have left with the keys, went back to the party, and then we could have made a move.
Hold
You
on.
got
give me a
greedy.
I did not get greedy. I took advantage of the situation.
It was greedy.
That's not a situation.
Look.
When the castle is on high alert, and like, quick, there's people out there. They're going to be looking for
what'd you roll?
infiltrators.
Okay, hold on. I'm scrolling down right now. I haven't seen what you rolled yet. You rolled a 10. Okay. He'll roll.
Please roll low. Please roll low. Please
Conscience gets a 14.
Dylan, you don't happen to have that inspiration. I think you do, right? No.
Dylan just goes quiet.
Dylan, Nikki, are either of you there?
Look, I went out of my comfort zone and did a a recap. I'm keeping my inspiration.
Please help! I'm about to die! I don't
Yes.
want to die!
You're
And
cool,
to
man.
quote you, Michael, to quote you, you got this.
Thanks, Dylan. Listen, if I die, you don't get your cool shit, alright?
He's willing to make that sacrifice for his inspiration.
This got a whole lot more interesting, and I'm excited to see how it
The tiefling looks to you, kind of these dark blue eyes kind of just staring at you through the heavy scarred face. And where did you go?
I don't know. They just woke up with all the noise, and now the door's open.
You sound different than usual, Joe.
I got something in my throat.
You watch as he
Wait,
reaches to one of his arms. It's heavily gloved, and he kind of pulls the glove off, and you notice in his skin, both two on his forearm and one on his hand, there are just gaps, as if almost holes. And you watch as he moves the hand, there's this whistling noise as air passes through it. You watch his eyes give a slight flash.
I'm gonna just bolt out there now.
This will be initiative then.
Yeah.
But, by the way, Chris, did I guess it? Did he give the wrong name and you answered to it? Like the class?
I went like, wait, no, that's not my name.
Pardon? Oh, no. No, he did beat the insight. It was very much, the voice was not on the right nose.
Yeah,
And
you never even
he
heard
just-
that voice. Like, you don't know what you're doing.
Listen, man, I had to make a call.
So Conscience has a +4.
Oh, it's Conscience.
24.
All right, that's bad for me.
Run, Moonstone, run!
You immediately turn and start to move. He acts first. You feel him. You hear him move. That's like almost the most frightening part of it. You turn away from him and start to move, and you can hear it as he moves towards you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
I knew it.
Why
I
wisdom?
knew it. Oh, nice.
A 21. You manage to avoid getting hit by hold person.
Oh, good.
As you kind of feel it, that like almost humming and whistling starts to fill your mind. It doesn't, he doesn't take hold of you, though. He is directly behind you. You can hear him drawing a blade from his sheath. You saw like a rapier on his side.
I will, yeah, I'm gonna feline agility and just big it a bounce.
Okay. You're not going to disengage?
No, because I need to move.
Okay. So, unfortunately, if you're not going to disengage, I need you to make another wisdom saving throw as he is a warcaster.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh,
Cast a spell.
Oh,
Inspiration.
no.
You can have
No.
it now.
There.
You are a saint.
No.
You fucking moron. You fucked it up.
You feel it. Your entire body lock in
Wait,
place.
I thought Warcaster had to have a range of melee.
Let me check. I could be wrong.
That could be true. I think it's
I
any
remember
spell
it
though,
being
man.
Something like that.
No.
I could be wrong. No, let's check. We can. When a hostile creature's movement provokes an opportunity attack and caster, you can use a reaction to cast a spell on that creature rather than an opportunity attack. The spell must have a casting time of 1 action and must target only that creature.
Okay, never mind. Damn.
Your body immediately locks up. You can make another wisdom save as soon as your turn ends. You do get to make another one.
God damn it!
Oh,
You feel your body just kind of lock up, and you can hear it still, that whistling from those holes in his arm as he just moves closer and closer. You get a kind of good look at it now as he pulls the blade and kind of just leans over your shoulder with it across your neck. It has a heavy smell of sulfur and is coated in cinnabar, the poison used against sickle. Am I going to have to get violent then?
No.
You watch him kind of take a step back. He brings his hands to his mouth, and you hear this sharp, like this. I'm not going to do it over a mic.
I appreciate that.
Blast of a whistle.
Let me know when my next wisdom save comes up.
Yeah, you can hear some people moving down. Your next wisdom save would be right now. He's still within 5 feet of you. You can make the wisdom save. You make the save.
If I were to go upstairs right now, how many people do I think I'd hit?
A number, you'd assume. A large number. Your turn does end, so it's unfortunately 12 seconds. You do hear what sounds to be a number of them proceeding down the stairs behind this man, as well as to the stairs in front of you. You are free of the spell, though, if you wish to try anything.
So all my routes of exit are blocked off.
Seemingly, yes.
I'm looking through my inventory, trying to think of what I have in here that I can. Trying to think what I have in here that I could use to. I'm just gonna look at me like, how much are you getting paid for this, by the way?
Capturing you? Nothing at the moment. Why?
If you let me walk out with my disguise intact, I will give you 24 gold pieces, 50 gold worth of a wizard spell book, and 25 gold pieces worth of bloodroot herb.
Roll a persuasion check. He's wrong. 17. Across the heavily scarred face, there's a bit of a smile. Am I to assume my prisoner's not in his cell anymore?
Maybe.
The blade kind of moves closer to your throat. I don't like liars.
Technically, that wasn't a lie.
Technically, tell me the truth.
That's a stabbing.
No, he's not. He's not there.
Where is he?
Do I get to live if I tell you?
Potentially, yes.
Is he lying?
He's gonna
Roll an insight check.
when you point at your tiny box and go in there. He's
You get a sense, ever since you're kind of like, will you let me go if I pay you? He is having a ton of fun. But he doesn't seem to be lying.
I have him on my person.
He kind of... I'll allow you to produce him then to prove it. Kind of takes one step backwards. You notice now there are people on both staircases.
Run, Moonstone.
Where?
No. Not right now, not right now. Not right now, please. Sorry, what were you saying?
Is there any way in my amazing bright mind that I could see an escape route here that's not going to get me killed?
You see 3 men with crossbows on either staircase, and a man with decently powerful magic directly in front of you, that you won't trigger an opportunity this time.
So my odds of survival if I try to run are pretty low, is what I'm assuming.
It's... One of them
It's
will
not
almost be
zero.
Julius and is straight up. There are 6 of them with heavy crossbows on you, and one man who you guess is a cut above the rest.
It's not a 0.
Oh, that was my rhythm dot. Right, I forgot to reset.
I will take off my toolbox of holding,
Okay.
and I will produce Hammond.
Kinda... As you reach in and pull it out, there's this, like... Everyone's kind of watching, and then just... You kind of pull him out by the hair, and there's just... Who looks to it? Yeah, you all get a short rest. Kinda... Looks to you. Well, that's... certainly fascinating. Kinda reaches down, grabs Hellman, and kind of pulls him away from you.
Before he does, I'm just gonna be like, by the way, just out of curiosity, who the hell hired you guys to kidnap him? It was what's the other competitor's name again?
Darith or whatever? Delrith?
Is
Nope.
it Delrift?
Nope.
Is that not his name?
Nope.
Chris, I have it written down. Don't make me look it
It's
up.
not his name.
Delith Farstone? That's what I
You're
have.
very close. You got the last name
Delphin.
right.
Delphus Farstone.
Delphus.
I had it written down, Chris. Why are you like?
I was just we're mispronouncing, but it's Farstone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
Farstone.
it Delphus Farstone? Out of curiosity.
It was not.
Wait, what?
Sad.
Are they
that's his
lying?
face.
Roll an insight check.
I love how you're trying to get their employer out of them. You're just asking to die.
You get a sense he's not lying. You also get a sense that he is a hard man to read, though.
Alright.
Like, even on your 18 insight, you're not, like, you're fairly certain he wasn't lying about that first part. Now, it's like he could be Delthus, for all you know. But you watch as he pulls Hellman out, kind of inspects him for a moment, sees he's still asleep, despite someone pulling him by his hair. And kind of looks to you, the rapier still kind of aimed towards you, though a bit of a step away. He squats and kind of looks to you. Look, friend, I'm not a fan of killing people who haven't done something directly harmful to me. Am I to assume that it was you who assaulted Roderick?
Technically not me.
Then who was it?
Someone I know. I mean, there were 2 other guys there. You could ask them. They could probably tell you.
They could. But I'm enjoying this so far.
Oh, that's just mean.
Plus, I'm assuming I'm not seeing the real you either. You're shrouded in illusion. My eyes see that.
Honestly, I'm kind of interested in like what your whole deal is. Like, honestly, that whole your spellcasting is actually quite fascinating. We should compare notes at some point.
I hate to say it, but I'm very doubting the opportunity will come up.
I think that's more depending on you at this point. I mean, I think
It
this is a very
is.
interesting operation.
What will you do if I let you go? And
Well,
I would suggest you do not lie.
Well, considering you have now got him on high alert, I don't have Hellman on me. I have no exit route. If I leave, I might call it a loss and leave. I'm not an idiot. I got caught. If I can walk away, I will.
Why did you ask if that ore baron had hired us?
Seemed like the most likely candidate. Hellman's supposed to be in town to get a contract, get a property dispute settled out. He, crap, I forgot his name again. You just said it. My brain's blanking.
Delphus.
Delphus hired us to go see if we could expediently find Hammond and bring him back for a couple of platinum.
So you would think the man that hired you hired me, and then hired you to go against me.
Little faith in us and hoping that the show would prove that he didn't do anything in case it came up in a court of law.
Well, you made this far. I suppose you should have at least a little faith. I'll tell you what, boy. I'll consider your request. But for now, well, I'm just so lucky to have a second free cell, aren't I?
Now, if I may throw in something else, me walking away is probably also meaning other people are walking away too, so... But I can't do that in a cell now, can I?
Is that your attempt at threatening me?
No, that's my attempt. No, that's my attempt to try and save you some hassle.
Hassle, I can deal. Hassle, this was a hassle. I don't mind hassle. What will happen if I lock you in here and put you to sleep just as I did Hellman?
Oh, hold on. So it's calling me. I'm really sorry. Give me 1
This
second.
sucks
We'll
because
pause.
I'm in now.
Yes, it is! It is! We're going right into this. Someone could have left with the keys. Been fine.
And it sounds like we have to fight a Minotaur and this dick.
Didn't the party say if Moonstone doesn't come back, that's it? But they don't think that's gonna happen.
The
No,
plan
we said
wasn't
after
an
an hour
hour,
we're going.
so because you needed a rest, so we were going to give him an hour, and then we'd move in.
Guys, I
So-
did the rock thing, and that's probably the only good roll I'm gonna get.
For what it's worth, I have faith in you.
Let's see. Yeah, okay.
Oh God, this is.
Another 4 for her, right?
It's gonna go great.
Yeah. Thank goodness
By the
you
way,
weren't-
I want to point
thank
out,
goodness.
I was just rolling that for the fuck of it. My right is still activated because I never took a break.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
But thank goodness I didn't have you rolling those d4s, because for the d4s and the d6s, I had a number of different encounters that could happen depending on what roll. But
Higher
if
the
any of those
worse.
ever hit any of those hit the high number was when they arrived back.
Mm-hmm.
I did it immediately.
I'm just going to say, all he had to do was leave with the keys. We would have had a way in.
We know, we've heard it. We don't gotta harass him for it. We don't gotta
Alright,
harass
Mac.
him for it. All right,
Also, I heard that he. Anyway.
we all make choices, and it's fine.
Oh, I'm all for this. This is great.
Yeah.
So
I love this.
the tiefling looks to you, dark, piercing blue eyes. What will happen if I keep you locked in here?
Well, I imagine someone's gonna eventually try to come in here and get both of us. Unless I tell them not to.
Fair enough. Now then, are you going to get in willingly, or do I have to force you?
You sure you don't want me to go talk to some people, make sure this just goes away?
I'll be honest. I deeply appreciate the fact that you didn't kill Roderick, or your friend didn't. If you had, and I found out this would be much different. I value life, you see. I'd rather not see someone take it and then not expect to have theirs taken. But for you, for whoever may come for you, I don't imagine if I'm prepared I'll have any more difficulty than I did with you. Now, are you going to go in willingly? Or do I have to force you?
Fine. Out of curiosity, how long are we gonna be in there?
Until I feel I don't have a risk anymore. So most likely until your friends come back. Until I'm fully paid and free to leave. So, probably a week or two.
What are you being paid for?
Kind of just looks to Hellman.
Obviously, but, like, who the hell wants him?
Why would I tell you?
I don't know, compensation? The fact that you have nothing to lose for it?
Look, friend, I have many more things to talk about that don't put me in the law's pathway.
Well, you think I'm... alright, that's funny.
So, are you gonna just go into the cell?
Try to run again.
Terrible idea.
No, Kovacs!
Yeah, I'll go.
You head your way towards the cell. You'll need to strip, by the way.
Oh, come on.
I do the same thing to him when I put him to sleep. Be lucky I'm not putting one of those shackles on you.
Do I at least get a tunic?
Yes. I'm not
Fine.
a barbarian.
Funny enough, I met one last week. Oh, by the way, what the hell did you do to Sickle? You left it to die and become enslaved by fucking goblins.
I'm amazed that thing is still alive.
Yeah,
I
she's a
didn't
person.
intend to not kill it. But I will admit it was much faster than I gave it credit for, and I wasn't getting paid for that one.
You know she's a person too, right?
So are you, but I'm treating you like shit.
Yeah, but you're not killing me, at least.
Yet.
I was about to say the
Some
same
things are
thing.
worse than death. He throws you a tunic.
I'll take off my leather armor.
He looks to it. Where the hell did you get these?
Found it.
Where?
Just nod my head over towards the storage room.
He kind of looks to the other men who are like putting Hellman back, and it's like, he was in here long enough to get changed, and no one noticed.
I almost got out of. I almost made it out of here.
If it weren't for you meddling kids.
He's kind of like puts hands to his brow, and he's like, I
Literally would have gotten out here if it were not for those two fucks showing up at just the wrong moment.
Well, lucky us then.
I mean, if you want to hire someone to like give you a little briefing on like your security weaknesses, I'll go and do that.
I didn't think I needed higher security. I thought my people would be wood enough. Just yells at them.
Listen, I've actually had a small business running sort of security details where people actually pay me to go in and try to break into places and tell them where the security is like.
I'm not paying you, if that's what you're saying.
I'm not asking to be paid. I'm just asking them not have my time wasted. Coin's one thing. I don't really care about that. It's learning. That's
He picks up the leather armor, like throws it to one of the others, like wash it and put it in the storeroom. You strip down of everything.
Is there any way I can hide my Tinker's tools on me? I am still illusion. So it's just like the leather armor's just plopping off.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's dangerous, because
It's not impossible. You have to hide them in the illusion still. And it's a set of tools. Like, it's not a small thing. You could certainly attempt, but the choice is yours.
I don't feel confident in that, so I'm going to say no.
Okay.
But confidence is what you did to get here.
You take off everything. They do, to an extent, frisk you slightly to make sure you're not wearing anything anymore. You are free to wear the tunic. You watch as he takes the keys from you. They, for the most part, gather up your possessions as well. Put them with Hillman's stuff. Closes the door. You hear the door lock.
Can I at least make sure I get some of those back?
If I let you go, I will consider. He walks out and closes the door.
I just want to take a moment to say that if we do happen to make it down to the cell, we find a passed out Moonstone wearing those stupid fucking glasses.
Yeah, I forgot I had those on.
Fucking Mark's brother ass looking.
Oh!
I'll just take them off.
Well, those would be easy enough to hide. Like, it's a tool set's difficult. They're not going to frisk your head, though.
Motherfucker.
I'm amazed
I
they
suppose
let
I
him
can
go in with illusions on.
Well, they just don't have a way to get rid of it.
Out of curiosity, can I attempt to pick the lock with my claws for future reference?
Calm down.
You could certainly attempt. It would be difficult because you're one on the wrong side of the lock and two using claws. But you can certainly attempt. They don't shackle you either. They just throw you in a tunic.
Yeah, no, I will. I'll wait a little bit.
Of course. With that,
I almost had it.
you did. It was one misstep.
One roll away.
Unfortunately.
One roll away.
Well, if the roll had passed, he Conscience himself would have went to check.
Oh, I would have gone by then.
It's debatable. You still had to get through the main floor, which was swarming with people.
Yeah, man, they were on high alert.
I would have gotten it. I was so close. If we had not let them go or tied them up, we would have got it.
At the same time, your life would be in much more danger if we didn't let them go.
No. Because if you had tied them up, they're not dead. They hadn't reported back yet. This whole thing kicked off because they came back.
Unfortunately, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't have given you my inspiration.
Well, with that,
Dylan,
we're going
I'm
to
very
take
sorry.
A 15-minute break. And come back at the hour. It's been an hour and a little bit. Still no sign of Moonstone.
Yeah, with every 10 minutes that pass by, Julius's anxious foot tapping gets worse.
I'm just saying, when the hour mark hit and Julius took their short rest, Grotus would have said, "Okay, let's move."
And with that, we'll come
before. Not even that. Probably an hour, 10, 15 before I got caught.
So Moonstone is asleep?
Is he asleep? I thought he wasn't
I'm
asleep.
Yeah,
Moonstone's not asleep. He looks like one of the guys who was sleeping.
Sorry,
yeah.
Moonstone looks like one of the sleeping guys.
I was about to argue. I was like, you didn't put him to sleep. We got you. Ha ha.
No, he's not sleeping. So.
Okay, yeah, that was the thing. Hour in. We go.
Yeah, I believe everybody is ready. Are we intending to move in?
It has been a good deal of time. We really should.
Probably best. If he ain't back yet, something probably went wrong.
All right. Yeah, then I guess we will walk in. I will be wherever Grotus is. I would like to flank him.
Okay.
And before we go in, sorry. I'm
just saying my position.
Yeah, I was actually going to say Grotus is going to give a little dictation where it goes, if we're going in there, then we can expect that whatever occurred, Moonstone was probably caught and they're on high alert in there now. I wouldn't be surprised if we're about to find half a dozen men or better coming down at us. So,
You don't think he's dead, do you?
Honestly, I've got no idea at this point.
What? Sorry, I could have sworn we were talking about something.
If anything, if the other guards are like the ones that are outside, there is a possibility that he is alive. But otherwise, we can assume the worst and see the better once we see him.
Aye.
Wait. What are y'all talking about? I was napping.
We're going in. Moonstone hasn't come back. It's been an hour. And most likely, the cave is on high alert. It could be a dozen men in there or more.
Damn, I really shouldn't have been under that shadow or done move while I was sleeping. I get a sunburn. Oh, well. Right, you're right. Wait, he's dead? Or you think he's dead?
We are
Assuming
not
the
sure.
worst, hoping for the best. We'll see when we cross that bridge. But for now, we need to think of formation and a bit of strategy. This cave looks pretty narrow, and 3 of us cannot see. I can move on ahead. But how will the rest of you fare?
I mean,
Gatto will have to head ahead.
light.
No lights.
No lights inside of a narrow-ass cave.
Hey, because if we light the lights up and there happens to be archers, we'll be nice big targets.
Ain't there like, I don't know, a whole bunch of them with lights too? How are we any different?
The difference is we can see them, but they can't see us.
I mean, I suppose they'd be able to hear us with heavy-ass footsteps inside of an echoed goddamn cave, but
I'm probably
I
sure
get it.
they'll hear us coming, but there's a difference between hearing and seeing. I'm just saying, probably better if Gallo moves on ahead. I'll lead the 3 of you, well, hold hands or whatever. I'll take the lead while Gallo scouts ahead.
Alright.
No, the only problem here is communication. I can scout ahead, but that doesn't mean I could send you a message.
You got your bow, right?
Say that again.
You got your bow on you, right? If you find that you're in a bad situation, we'll stay... What's the range of your bow?
80 feet.
You're wrong range.
Just about.
You're outer range, Doc. You're not your inner range.
Wait, sorry. Me as a player not understanding. Can you...
There's 2 ranges. You have your inner range, which is 80 feet, and you have a secondary range, is your outer feet. That's when you have an attack at disadvantage.
Oh, that's what the slashes meant when I looked it up.
Sorry, just how you said that. I don't know why it's so funny.
Damn, baby. God, I think it was like... It was either like 80 to 120 or 80 to 300 something.
It's a short
gonna go
bow, right?
It's a short
Yeah.
bow, right? Yeah, we can just look it up.
Yeah, you want to put that in your sheet. That's an important thing to have.
Yeah, so you can hit it that longer range, but it's always at 320.
320. So 80 / 320. Okay.
Which is significant, because Grodus's plan will say, you can shoot that bow, 320 yards or feet? If you see the enemy, you think there's too many of them, there's an ambush coming, we'll stay about 320 feet back, you shoot your bow, and we know there's something coming.
How will we know that he shot his bow?
Because I can see in the dark.
And my bow, well, the arrows glow.
Also, hopefully there's not a curve in the tunnel going down.
Well, if there's a curve, then we'll hear it hit the wall.
It just starts ricocheting off the walls, and you're just, oh god, the arrow!
Pull it out.
Again, my arrows are different, at least for now. They are glowing blue, and they fade away soon after they hit something, so hopefully you see my signal. That's how it's
Exactly.
been
It'll
thus
hit the
far.
wall, it'll hit the cave door or whatever, and we'll see it, and we'll know.
Let's see.
We'll make it
What's
simple.
the...
1 shot means you're in trouble, and we have to rush ahead. 2 shots means pull back.
This is all assuming he'd have the chance to make these shots, right?
Well, hopefully he won't be seen, but at that point, he's got the best bet of that happening.
If anything, you'll just hear me yelling. I
Are you doing
don't have
anything
the
to
spell
help?
like we...
Aye. If he
Can
can't
I
make the
do
shot, then
anything
he
to help?
screams.
Say that again, Xavier.
Can I do something to help?
Grodus will actually tap. He goes, actually, there might be something you do to help him, lad.
Slightly lights up a bit
Distractions.
in his expression.
Hey, you know that spell you gave us when we were trying to get better at stuff when we were going to the goblin camp?
Yeah.
Probably make him a little dexterous would be a good idea right now.
Right. Do you both need it, or just?
Honestly,
I don't
I'm
know.
not going to be dexterous no matter what you do to me, lad. Kessex,
He's
maybe.
too clunky.
And Kessex can't, unfortunately, see in the dark.
Right.
Another thing, well, actually, both you and Julius are able to create explosions. So, in any case, if I do need to fall back, just make something go boom. Give me enough time to get out.
I
I'll
ain't
try.
too sure how collapsing part of a cave could be reliable, but
Oh,
I'll try.
we'll see. If it is a cave completely, if there's ventilation, fire could be good. But,
Right.
that is another thing. Smoke. Try not to make too much.
Oh, that's actually a kind of a nice thing. My flames aren't exactly the hottest, but they're effective, so they don't actually create too much smoke.
That'll be useful in any case. You're okay, go on ahead then, Gallo.
I'm fine if you all are.
I think that's
Yes,
our
indeed.
best bet.
All right. Should I give you the speed now, or?
He
It lasts
will
a good
cross
hour,
his
right?
arms.
Oh.
Sorry, Judah, you go first.
I wasn't saying anything.
Gallo will cross his arms. When he said, if everyone's okay with it, he doesn't move, and he's eyeing Kessex and Julius, because I think Xavier said yes.
To what?
To
What?
the plan
To
that we
him
came
going
up
ahead.
with. Yeah.
Oh,
Gallo's gonna go on ahead, and he's go to Sess, like, are you okay with it? And I said, I'm okay with it if everyone else is. And then he
yeah. Grotus, you were saying something about. Well, yeah, it does last an hour. It's I don't know. I will not be held responsible for any limb fatigue you might have afterwards, though. That's kind of what heat does.
limb fatigue.
It's flavor, but nothing actually happens.
Oh, is it kind of like the feeling of burnout? Okay, yeah.
Wait, before we go in, are we for sure that it is just the, humans and half-elves and the sort like that? Is it just normal people in there?
We
I don't
have no idea.
For all we know, there's a dragon at the end of the tunnel.
Well, at the very least, let me see if I could cross out. At the very least, let me see if I can cross out at least a little bit for a distance. It'll walk over towards the cave entrance, reach his hand out, and cast this golden glowing light that pulses out of his hand, sort of skimming across the walls of the tunnel as it goes way past as it goes its way down past line of sight into the darkness, and he'll use Divine Sense for 60 feet.
Okay.
So basically, if we're
see if the
Grotus
area
can
is
see.
consecrated or not.
What was that?
You're
So
just
you
saying seeing if the area is consecrated or desecrated.
How do I...
You're
Looks
trying
like
to
it.
detect undead fiends.
Oh, there we
and
go.
Yeah, I think he's more looking for the consecration or desecration. Right?
Yeah, either or, really. Just seeing if there's possibly anything within those areas of creatures or whatever in the vicinity, or if it's desecrated.
I mean, definitely not within 60 feet of you. Only your companions and some of the woods are within 60 feet of you.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of things, but the area is neither consecrated nor desecrated or afflict the hollow spell.
Alright. At that, he kind of gives a little nod and then looks to Gallo and, well, at the very least, 60 feet in your should be, hopefully, alright.
Okay, sounds good.
Well then, I'm counting
Actually-
on all of you.
So Grotus
Wait,
will.
am I doing the spell?
Aye, yeah, get to going just before he heads out.
Right.
great, Xavier.
And he puts his hands together, rubs them and begins to glow a reddish to a whitish hot. And he'll just go ahead and bend down over and just tap the very tip of your toe, and that heat just travels through your legs, through your arms. You feel very limp.
He'll watch him, and a dirty thought passes through his mind, but he bites his tongue. And after feeling the fires go through his body in a way, he'll kind of shake out his limbs and feel it out, roll his shoulders back, cracks his neck. All right.
Okay. The only thing I guess we gotta figure out is our hand-holding order with Grotus in front. So who's behind Grotus as we conga line through this bitch?
Oh yeah, how large and wide is this cave? Like, can
The tunnel, you could fit 2 people side by side, but they'd be squeezing. It's higher than it is. It's as high as it is wide. Or no, it's actually higher than it is wide. As it's probably about like 9-10 feet up. But it's only like 4 feet across. Like, it's not wide tunnel.
I will take a moment and go ahead and change my right to the right of the dawn, and then sheath my sword, and
Sure.
I will follow right behind you.
Julius will follow behind you.
Aha!
Wait, do you have to do that every time when you change it as well?
It's a different right. I have to activate a different right.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
actually,
Unless you want to decide that I don't, then yeah, I'm all for it, man.
I'll think on it. You guys keep talking.
Question, is that... Yeah, you just take damage. It doesn't reduce your maximum HP anymore,
No,
right?
it changed in the recent version. I just do damage to...
Yeah, if you just...
You don't lose max HP on that anymore?
No.
Okay. I'll say... Is it an action to do it?
It is a bonus action.
It's a bonus action. I'll say if it is a weapon that you've already applied a right to, you can switch it.
Okay, I do want to point out, though, before you say that like, my Crimson Right and my Rite of the Dawn are 2 completely different things. I get more advantages with my Rite of the Dawn.
Is the Rite of the Dawn more than just radiant damage?
It is radiant damage, I have light in a 20-foot radius, and I do additional damage to undead. It's not just like a different type of damage.
You're right.
Maybe have to switch.
No, I don't know. I've always felt they're kind of a weak class as is. I don't think doing it... I'll think on it. I won't say it. I won't do it right now, but I'll think on it.
All right, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so then
That feels like... Well, because that feels like kind of like a neat thing. Like, you realize it's undead mid-fight, and you just, like, switch it out and then swing kind of thing without having to kill yourself.
So our marching order is Grotus up front, then it's Kessex, then it's Julius, then it's Xavier, and then it's Sickle at the back.
Sure. I was there.
Because
Surely that don't gotta be the...
there's a problem there, Julius.
You mean Xavier?
Or Xavier, sorry. Yeah.
Nothing. No.
Like, I mean, if you're uncomfortable, like, you're better up front with me, I think.
Looks over towards him. Looks over towards Sickle. Yeah. I have no problem with that. Let me just go ahead and just like pushes past
Julius just like looks ahead, very confused, and then back at Sickle. And just, well, I guess it's just you and me in the back.
Yep. So it's now okay. So now it's Grotus, then it's Xavier, then it's Kessex, then it's Julius, and then it's Sickle.
Yes. So, this question then goes out to Gallo. At what pace are you going? You currently have advantage on the stealth check, but you could go at a bit of a faster pace and hit it at a regular roll, since you'd have a disadvantage and advantage canceling each other out.
To be fair, going at a fast...
say...
Oh.
Well, I mean, I imagine this is something that he talked to you all about first. Like,
Yeah,
at what pace?
I'd say
Yeah.
Grotus would so going to a faster pace wouldn't help because we can't move at a faster pace, due to the fact that I'm leading 4 blind people.
Yeah, it's a straight path. Just run it. You don't need to see.
Gallo, what he'll do is he'll think about it and say, alright, so we don't know what this path is like. We don't know who is close by the entrance, if this is a winding path or if it's a straight shot into the base. I will keep an eye out. If I think I can move forward a bit faster at a regular walking pace, then I will. If I hear something, I will slow down. So basically, probably, I don't know, like a perception check. He will, I think, he'll start off quick-ish. Not quick-ish, but, like a regular pace. Starting off, and he'll kind of keep mindful. And then, maybe every once in a while, do a perception check. And if he thinks that he's getting closer to something, or if he hears somebody, he's going to slow down.
Okay. So, if that is the case then, and you are wishing to go ahead stealthily, if you're, like I said, if you're going to go at a faster pace, it'll be just a straight roll.
Okay, and then at a slower pace, it's advantage.
Yes.
I'm going to do a straight roll first.
Okay. 11.
Oh dear.
Why?
So, as you head your way forward, continuing down the path, it is mostly straight, damp smelling, slight bristles of wind at your back, moving forward. As you continue further and further, no sign of anything but the slight noise that some of your party a decent ways away make, which every once in a while you can just barely pick up, only because you know they're there. As you continue further and further, walking 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
He's going to
25.
do a perception.
Sure. Perception.
Just keeping an ear out for anything ahead of him.
I'd like to say if he's going at a fast pace 20
aware.
minutes than us, he's like 15 minutes ahead of us, right?
Well, he's not at a full double your pace. This is more travel time than actual speed, a player
I know,
speed.
but he cannot move faster than us if we're staying in our 320-foot range that we agreed upon, is what I'm getting at.
He's walking at regular pace. It's essentially if he's being more cautious, he's working at half pace.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, so you're all going at a walking pace, not a stealthing pace. That's what we're going with.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it was?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
okay,
is.
yeah.
That's why there was just
Okay.
a bit of confusion.
Okay, yeah.
But sure, you can at the 20-minute mark, you can roll a perception check.
Okay.
Oof.
Cave in both directions. Damn.
He's going
Whistle of
to...
wind gets quieter, but you can still feel it moving slightly.
Okay. He will... He will continue to... so it's a straight path, there's no
Just straight.
rocks in between. Okay, there's nothing to hide behind.
No, it's a straight. This is an escape route path. It's as simple as can be for the means of people running for their lives.
Okay. Does he see anything further down with that 13? Like a light?
At a 20-foot minute, not at the 20-minute mark. Nope, it's all dark the whole way, same as it was for Moonstone.
Okay. He's going to continue to walk at a normal pace then until he sees something.
Sure. Eventually,
Or
that
hears
something comes.
Okay.
At the 30-minute mark, you continue looking forward, and you can see at the edges of your dark vision there is an end to the tunnel,
Okay.
where it looks like there is just a single flat rock or slab, and the tunnel does not continue.
A slab. Like a doorway or like a giant rock blocking an entrance?
To get kind of closer, looks to be something large and metal that is completely blocking the doorway.
Okay. He is now going to be cautious now that he's reached the end of the tunnel. And I'll say he'll listen for any immediate signs of something or someone behind the door.
Sure. It's not like I said, it's not a door. It's just this flat slab. No like handle, no hinges, nothing.
Oh, okay.
You get a bit closer, you do realize it is seemingly made of iron. Cast iron.
Oh, it's just a slab.
Check.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, look into it. It is cold to the touch. You do slightly hear noise on the other side, though some footsteps, the murmur of voices, but unfortunately with the 12 you can't pick them up. You imagine there's something on the other side of this, but yeah, no way forward you can see.
Okay. Even with the low perception, would I be able to tell if it's like immediately close by?
Well, you guess it's on the other side, to a degree.
Okay. Alright. Stealthing carefully now and being cautious about it. He's gonna start, he's gonna try to peek past this iron thing. I'm assuming he has to move.
Fully in front of it. You can't peek around it.
Okay.
It's like a stop.
So there's no left and right around me?
No, it's the tunnel goes and goes and goes and then ends.
Interesting. Wait, did Moonstone run across?
No?
Okay, wait, now that we're like literally 60 feet away from him, because we're only 320 feet behind, we've caught up at this point.
Yeah. Alright. He'll... As he comes into the vision, he puts his hand up in a shushing motion, but he will walk back to Grotus so then he can kind of telephone past the others. There's a wall here. Cast iron. There are people across from it.
Would it be safe to assume Grotus would understand that this is probably a passageway then, and this is obviously a door leading into something?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there are people behind it, so that means there's something in there.
Yeah,
And no sign of Moonstone?
Just making sure I'm not medding too much with that knowledge, but...
I mean, you can see it. It's the tunnel continues, stops on this flat metal surface that is pressed up harshly against the entrance.
Well, apparently they caught Moonstone, and whatever is in there, they decided to close off the way, since we didn't see Moonstone on the way down here.
Probably. This route is a straight shot. Feels like an exit. It's not trying to ward off anybody, really. So, we can either move it and use it as a shield, in a way, and make our move. Not sure how we could stealth across from it. This is a one-way through.
No, it almost seems certain that if we're on the other, if we make it to the other side of that, we're in the shit.
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have about half a dozen men with bows ready to shoot whoever comes out the other end.
I mean...
Can Grotus just make a look around? Being Daddy was a dwarf.
Oh, Daddy was a dwarf and I was an orc. No. I should have been a bard, guys.
When Kessick dies, man, you got your backup already.
God.
We might have to all have our backups ready pretty quick. Grotus looks around and is like, is that any way? Would he be able to see, like, so it goes up, like, so the tunnel, the rock goes out and stops, and the flat, would it possibly I guess, actually, one second. Never mind, I don't have the tools I would need for that. If only had stoneworking tools, I guess, could we possibly dig around it?
I mean, you have metal objects.
I have my blacksmithing tools, but I'm cooking tools. I don't think that'll help.
Xavier will take his finger that's like from the hand that's unlocked with yours, and he just kind of tickles your palm to kind of get your attention.
Oh, what is it kissing?
Xavier.
Wrong person
Xavier,
again.
I'm sorry.
But no, you're good. What do you think?
To be honest, I can't see who. I guess I didn't look behind, but I'm thinking that it's behind here. We're probably looking right into an ambush.
Yeah, that's probably it, ain't it? So what are you thinking about how we could get around or something?
I was hoping maybe we could probably. I don't know. My dad used to tell me the best way they can avoid an ambush is to find a route they ain't expecting to be at. If we had the right tools, maybe we could dig out to the side and maybe come in through a wall to the area they weren't expecting us exactly.
I never heard of digging ever been not lab.
Aye, that's true in itself.
Well, we could either grab their attention. See, here's the thing. We're in a narrow cave. Even if they wanted to come in, unless they have someone smaller who has enough moxie or airheadedness to try to make their way into the cave, assuming that there's no magic casters, then we're somewhat safe behind these doors. However, if someone were to throw also a lightning bolt, a firebolt, it's a different story. But if we do it first...
Yeah. Grota scratches his chin and shakes his head. Well, sure, there's at least one magic caster among them, based off what we saw when we were tracking them down.
Well, if this doorway of sorts is blocking our line of sight of them, and we can probably assume it's blocking their line of sight of us, could we perchance have a light lit and take a look around the area?
Aye, that's probably not a bad idea at this point.
Kessex will draw his sword.
Sure. The light illuminates. You come by a rather worn but well-carved cave. Looking, it is, black cast iron. You can see the very small protrusions of what looks to be a wooden floor beneath it. Kind of where it edges out. It seems, this is most likely some kind of entrance blocked by something heavy and metal.
Xavier, light the floor on fire.
Crouching down and giving a very light, very, very quiet to make sure the other people don't hear, kind of little knock on the wood. Does it seem like it's ground underneath, or like there could be an empty something down there?
Is it wood, or is it just like cave floor?
No, so to give an insight to players who have seen Moonstone go through this, the floor, literally where the floor ends is where the metal starts. Where the cave entrance ends, it's just metal and floor. There's a tiny bit, because it's still resting on the floor. They don't put the cast iron stove in the cave.
Yeah, in other words, what we do, we're standing on solid stone. There's a little bit of wood sticking out of the corner, like a half inch or less.
Oh, okay. In that case, kind of looking around the place, does it look like there could be another secret entrance or something?
You would assume this is the secret entrance.
Is there a secret entrance within the secret entrance, though?
So it appears our options are one of two, or I guess coming back the way we came is one, but I don't want to do that. Would like that to be thrown in there. The other options are we knock, or we try to knock it over.
Well, worst comes to worst. Well, actually, it's not the worst, but we could attempt negotiations.
God.
Keep in mind, we are being paid in platinum. These are,
again,
for all we know, could be paid for something else.
My hunch is that their employer would be the same as ours.
believe we have the same employer?
Well, that's an assumption.
We were
don't
getting
know
paid
that
platinum
yet.
to go hunt the monster, I'm pretty sure, not to go find him. We decided to go
No.
do this.
He did say he would give platinum if you'd be able to settle this mess so that the people who work in the salt mines could go back to work.
Then I'm still under the suspicion that it's him. Yeah. Still, that's... In my head, he's just like, yeah, sure, I don't look like the bad guy if I pay somebody to go find him.
Again, that is still an assumption. We have no evidence towards that, though it may be likely. That is one option. But if we can come out of this alive without bloodshed, it is a possibility.
Grodus is going to tap.
Our odds in
Look. Sorry, go ahead, Gallo.
Our odds are not in our favor in this tiny cave with 3 of us blind.
Here's the thing. 4 of us. At this point, we've got really only 2 options. We can go and fighting, or we can leave. Because if we go and surrendering, we basically just give up the goose.
And leaving Moonstone to his death, at least... Again, that's another assumption, but... These fellows did not seem like the nicest individuals. They did poison old Sickle over here.
Aye, well, no idea how they'll treat a tabaxi, honestly.
Though, to be fair, they did willingly walk away after the fight.
Aye, but there's also a chance they just went over to where this leads to warn everybody. Because we were assuming this was just a big cave, well, in fact, it's just a passageway leading to some other place. By the way, would we know what direction we were going in as far as north, south, east, or west?
Yeah, easily.
Would
you
we
wanna still
know
have-
that generally if the cats, since we're obviously nearby the fort, about a half-hour walk as the bird flies, that it would be a safe that based off all the structures we know that that's possibly the likelihood area we're at, or...
I'll say everyone involved here can make an intelligence check. DC
Okay.
at 13.
Aw,
is it.
hell yeah.
Cassix figures it out. Gallo figures it out.
Yes.
Yes.
to get this going, it's like, do we have any idea where this might actually be leading us then? Since this is obviously leading to a structure.
Gallo will
Yeah,
look
go
at
ahead.
text. Look at Kessex, who seems to have figured it out, and gives him a nod. Yeah. The fort.
Yeah, this was about the same direction as the fort.
In that case, we know for a fact that the fort's what we're dealing with. There's a lot in there. And not to mention that Minotaur.
Do you mean that fort that we camped outside before?
Mm.
I'm thinking
Yes.
we've got a new strategy then. Going in through here, suicide. I'm gonna say it. We have no chance if we go in through that door. They're waiting for us, and assuming they'll probably have figured out this is where Moonstone came in since they closed the gate.
Who's to say that they won't kill him, though? If he's not already dead, of course.
Oh, we're kind of already going off of hypotheticals to begin with.
I mean, let's be honest. If they haven't killed him yet, then they probably aren't going to kill him anytime soon.
Gallo, while they're talking, he's gonna start walking forward and just kind of nodding for Grodus to start moving back, because
Yeah, we're going to start heading
we're
back.
clearly not gonna stay here.
Grodus
So
is
let's
grabbing everybody.
start
We're
walking.
leaving. We're leaving the tunnel.
Yeah, we're gonna discuss while walking.
Yeah, we're discussing. We're on our way back. Yeah, Grodus agrees.
Going towards the fort is just as much suicide, because I don't know if a lot of y'all remember, but there were piles and
Yeah.
piles of goblins.
This is why I want to, or at least put the option there to negotiate. I didn't mention this before, but I do work with people often. There's no guarantee, of course, but if the Minotaur and her men were able to listen before, they might be willing to listen again.
Negotiate for what, though, Gallo? We got nothing to give. We can beg, but we can't negotiate in this situation.
We have an employer who is willing to pay platinum, which is very hard to come by.
The guards at that fort were Redhorns who worked for that man.
Alright.
Okay, assuming
then-
even that's right, and assuming it isn't right, the fact of the matter is, whoever they're working for, they obviously were getting paid already to kidnap this man, and I have a feeling they probably got paid more to kidnap him than we're gonna get paid to rescue him.
Hmm.
So all we can say is we'll give you less money to let us do our job at this point.
Less money, recruitment.
Rhoda's blinks.
We're not much of a headache.
Recruitment?
They don't need recruitment. They have.
I'm
a
I'm
small
putting
army.
options here. Because we clearly are not equipped to fight an entire fort, so we could stealth our way in as well. Do what we did similarly to the camp. But
What if-
even then, that's even
God, this might be a very, very dumb idea, and I'm just gonna throw it out there, just for the sake of it. All options on the table. What if we go convince the Manticore to come help us?
You want to go talk to a manticore, ride it on
Do
its
it,
back
Hero.
and committing attacks on a fort.
Riding on its back would be insulting.
or bringing
You're
it
the
to the
metaphor.
fort.
So your plan is then we try to talk to the manticore to help us attack the fort. This is the same beast that you were trying to kill earlier for a war, right?
Not trying to kill, trying to stop.
Okay, that's better, I suppose.
As long as its terror ends. I mean, it seems like it's eating goblins. They're trading food for it. What if we promised it a whole full of Redhorn?
You... Would Grodus have any idea of the normal strength of a manticore?
The strength of one?
No, not like physical strength, like for the purposes of
Are you
meta,
asking
like
for,
it's
like, the
challenge
challenge
level.
rating?
This isn't like a dragon attacking a fort. This is like a pissed off bear kind of thing, right?
I mean, it's a decent quality above a bear.
I'm just
it
using it as an
flies.
extreme. Yeah, I'm using an example, but it's not like a fort level threat that an army would need to gather.
No, it'd be like about like a small fort level threat.
Is this
Like,
a
you know,
small
it's-
fort?
Yeah, it's a small fort. This is
Okay.
like. Sorry, you lost my question.
Yeah,
You get a sense that the Manticore itself alone couldn't siege the fort, like guaranteed not. But it's definitely not something to scoff at either.
You know, I'm just gonna put it out there, guys. You know what we could have used really right now? King Grodus of the Goblins.
You certainly could.
Wasn't happening.
Well,
One bad roll, one bad decision.
I ain't too good at plan making or nothing, but it seems like y'all know that there ain't a right answer to everything, right? There's always going to be a give and take in every situation.
There will.
That's not
give
true.
and take.
They took Moonstone, and we have nothing to give.
He kind of squints at you as he's trying to make sense out of what you just said.
I'm realizing now, guys, I really should have been a bard.
Does fit your
Right.
personality, Dylan. Does fit your personality.
Well, regardless, I'm just thinking we should go with something. I mean, the longer that we kind of sit here and wait, I mean, we've been sitting inside of here in this musty-ass cave for about, what, 30 minutes now?
We're
Oh, we've
walking
been
back
walking.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we abandoned this idea of going in through the secret tunnel. That's suicide. Grodus and Gallo both agree that is death.
Well, Julius was hovering kind of as those two just so they walked off, just kind of looking at the others though.
We're not abandoning him. We know where this leads.
Wait. You said King Grodus and the Goblins. I mean, if we can go, we know where another goblin camp is. What if we can take care of their problem with their help?
So you're thinking if we get the goblins to kill them? I didn't say that in character,
Not
by
the
the way,
man,
but that's
not
great.
the Manicore. Yeah. No. We take care of one of their problems, which is the Redhorns who are actively hunting them.
Okay, so what you're saying is you want me to go to the goblins, rally their support to make a little goblin army, attack the Redhorn Keep, killing everyone in there with the exception of our employer and Moonstone, because I'm telling you right now, lad, you get a bunch of goblins in on a raid like that, that's the only outcome we got.
And what about the mage? She seemed intelligent. If we can find her. If we can get Moonstone back, we can have them help. We can have the goblins help us raid get Moonstone back, and then take care of their Manticore problem. This is 6 birds with 1 stone.
So,
I'm just saying, but if I ever get my ass caught in a bad situation, I hope y'all won't try to make some sort of harebrained scheme like this.
Well, once I get to know you, I might.
not gonna lie, really, I am really fighting Grotus's thought of saying, fuck it, I'm going back to the woods right now.
Yeah, no, honestly, the best decision is that I think Moonstone's dead.
I'm like, Grotus is like, I hate to say it, but we're also assuming Moonstone's even alive in there to do this.
I like to have a bit of faith.
I'm not saying faith's not great, but... Sorry.
No, I just have to agree. I'm not abandoning him in there. If there's a possibility he's alive.
Well, then, here is the best bet. Either we have someone try to confirm they're alive, and looks about, and nobody here has any sort of magic that can do that, right? Looks over at Xavier.
He kind of feels your gaze on him, and he just kind of he creates little sparks in his hand, and you just see a very nervous smile puff up in the light for a second before disappearing.
Okay, so we can't see if he's alive in there through magical means.
Well, I mean, if I try real hard, I can at least teleport a little bit, but...
Wait, what?
What?
Use my magic and take myself from one place to another place. That's what teleporting means, right?
And how far can you
30,
teleport?
give or take 30 feet.
What if you teleport inside a wall?
Little crack inside of a place. As long as I can see it, I can get there. I can't put myself inside of other places. At least I don't think I can.
Can you take another person with you?
I'm pretty sure it's a one-man ride. Sorry.
Well, that doesn't help much, unfortunately. I don't want you going there alone. Perhaps if you could have took me in there, maybe we could have done something. I could have caused a distraction while the rest of you got the door open.
Well,
Yeah.
Sorry, Xavier.
No, I'm just... There's... something I've been... Never mind.
No, not with it.
Well... He kind of, pushes a hand through his hair. Which, I should mention, had been passively moving, even inside of this cave where there's no possible wind.
I mean, there's wind in a cave. If there's not wind in a cave, you suffocate to death.
You get what I mean. Not much movement. Calm down.
No.
Don't ruin this!
Ah! But, nah, he's just... I don't know. I just don't feel good about making him wait, is what it is. It's just... I know I ain't the best, but there sure's gotta be something we can do. I mean, sure, it's gonna have risks. Everything's gonna have risks. Going through that door is gonna have risks. Going through the front of wherever the fuck the fort was in relation to wherever... I don't know. I'm not good with directions. But my point is that it feels like we're trying to avoid a spanking, but I don't think there's a way to actually avoid it.
Grotus
We're
is
looking
just gonna,
for some sort of right answer, but
I
is
think
there a right answer?
Grotus is just gonna kind of groan as you're saying that. I think the problem here, Xavier, is the problem I'm thinking is, how many of us are we going to lose in a fight to death trying to save one?
I know. I mean, hell, I barely became Moonstone's friend, and we're essentially just co-workers. But it won't ever sit right if we were to just, I don't know. I'll just go ahead and say it because I'm sure it's a thought that came across some of y'all's minds. But we can't just leave. At least I wouldn't be able to.
That is my line of thinking as well.
We're
Grotus
not
is just
leaving.
Yeah, Grotus will go, you're right. We're not gonna leave them, but at the same time, going in and getting us killed isn't gonna do us any good either. And I guarantee you, we go in there swinging, they're gonna go fight, and they're gonna fight to kill.
All right, so Grotus. So the best possible case situation is that we get Moonstone, we get Hellman, and we get the hell out of there, right?
Aye, if there's a way to get
That's
the pair of them.
That's our best case. Well, then that means that, and he almost is like clutching his head. He's very clearly thinking really hard. That means that if there's enough chaos in any sort of way, then we could potentially take advantage of that and swoop in and swoop out, and maybe nobody will notice.
Question for the
Okay.
DM. Chris?
Yep.
Was the wall was made of wood, right? The fort wall?
The wall that's blocking you?
No, the actual fort.
Oh, yes.
First,
The fort is wood and stone. It's got, like, primarily stone supports. The fort itself is wood, though. Like, wooden
Okay.
walls.
Alright, then Gala would
Shit.
mention that. It's just, you wanted chaos. The whole thing's made of wood. Light off a bit on fire. That's chaos. At least a distraction to start. Some men will have to tend to that.
Grotus will sigh, look, goes, listen, I think that whatever we do, we're not going to be able to do it during the day. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're right. Just, well,
Then-
yeah, maybe that can be the case. I could maybe set the place on fire, and it'll be a press mission. But we'd have to make sure that we get everybody out of there. But
I think
if we're all on the front side, then
I have an idea. The fort being on fire, that may give me an idea. It'll be risky. And Gallo, it's going to be up to you mostly for this.
Like you said, there's gonna be spanking no matter what, so just
If we
put it
light
out there.
the fort's on fire. Make a diversion on the front lines of their fort. Draw as many of their troops in a fight to the front as possible. Then it is also possible you can sneak in through this underground exit while the rest of them are busy. If we're lucky, they'll have it undermanned at the moment. Now,
And how am I supposed to move a giant iron cast door?
he looks over at Julius. Either me or Julius will have to push it open for you.
I can do it.
There.
Alright.
The other option,
So-
look back at Kessex. As much as I don't think it's going to work, maybe you're right if we can gather the goblins for an attack. That
You were
would be a
waiting-
distraction.
We're waiting to do this at night.
When you hear the
What
DM
else do
laugh,
we have to do?
I know.
Fuck y'all, it's a good idea. We've already shown compassion to them. Like, one goblin has seen us show compassion. Alright? We know they have a Manicore problem. We know they have a Red Horn problem. And you have shown that they are willing to fucking listen to you.
I think that was probably the case before I tried to kill their elder.
And people
It
can be
was
fickle.
still alive.
Exactly.
So the problem then would be afterwards too, because we will not be able to take care of an entire fort. But that's what they want. We can lessen their men.
The fact-
Then it's their. It looks at Julius.
Julius.
What about that magic spell that Moonstone sometimes used, where he could speak to us from a distance? How does that work?
As far as I was aware, he could only speak with us in about 120 feet, he said, when we were discussing it during the goblin camp.
So maybe then if we sort of start this fire, maybe within this vicinity, and he gestures to the big area that they're in, and we, once the fire is big enough, we burst down the door there. Perhaps once the smoke begins to spread, he might sort of take that as a signal that we're sort of making our way in, and we try to be somewhere within the vicinity of where he might be.
Presuming he's alive, presuming he's awake, presuming that he's not tied up, and presuming they didn't cut out his tongue or something like that.
That's a good idea.
I mean,
Keep that in mind.
Chris, no!
always- I have at least a factor of the fact that my fire is a pretty peculiar color, but that's about it. You would at least recognize that.
That's true.
Again, I don't say the plan's bad to make the distraction. I just don't think we can count on Moonstone helping us in this any way for the most part.
I know, just...
Look,
I mean...
you said it. We're gonna take a spanking no matter what we do here.
Yeah, just... You okay, Grotus? You don't seem to... well, we're all uncomfortable, but... Are you old enough?
Yeah, you'll kind of notice that Grotus's eyes just twitching a tad. I'm sorry, Xavier. I told that god blasted fool not to do it, and then he did it anyways.
He's stubborn like that, from what I've known of him.
I'm not
Well,
going
As
to
he's-
lie. He's gonna look over at each of you. I'm not gonna lie right now. The only reason I'm planning to go in and helping right now is because you all want to. If it was me, by myself, I'll be honest with you. I warned him 3 times not to do this bloody plan, and he did it anyways. I know you're gonna save him, and I'll help you all save him. But if it was just me, I'd just walk away at this point.
well... I'm glad you didn't. It'd be real difficult not to... It'd be real difficult to pull something off like this if we didn't have somebody with your experience. Kind of gives him a little clench on the hand.
You kind of notice that Grotus looks over at you with kind of a bit of a smile, and you know what? For fun, can I request an insight roll from him?
Sure.
Just roll me an
for me?
insight roll, Xavier. Yeah.
Oh no! I don't want to fail, man. Oh,
Okay. I'll
stairs
say
is
you
the
had
fucking
advantage
point.
actually just for this, but you gather when he says.
Tell him what you want.
I know. I was just getting curious. If he rolled like total shit, I probably wouldn't have. But to be fair, I'll say. You gather when he says you guys, he's mostly doing it because you're his friend and you're okay with this, so he's going to try to put himself on the line.
Oh,
Since the rest of the party he hasn't made a connection with yet.
I'm not sure if it's palpitations or something else, but this got my heart going. Oh
He
wait, I'm
probably
pretty sure
would
it's
have walked away if Xavier said fuck it.
It brings a little bit of a cheer to his look. But yeah, he's just... Well... It's... He kind of like raises a hand to kind of like scratch a little bit of his hair before kind of looking back over at everybody else. So, we all in agreement? This is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. I'm just saying. I'm just being real with y'all. It's gonna
Step 1.
suck, but we're going through with this.
Step 1, we'll see if we can get the goblins on our side. That
I
is
got a
gonna
trick for
be-
that.
Do ya?
Yeah. You see, when you have a nice warm glow around you, suddenly everybody's a little bit more nice to you, more comfortable, and I can do just that if you're the one who's talking to them.
It's not
or
what
whoever.
does that.
Right, I did that with you, didn't I?
You never did that to him.
He wouldn't fucking remember. I didn't either too, so it was perfectly in character. But it was like, wait, did I? Yeah, I must have. I don't know, but yeah. Generally
You
speaking,
didn't, but
just
go on.
shit. Well, the heat that I'm able to produce, it's a little bit more warm in nature, but I can go ahead and kind of have that meld with the person. So I'm usually able to bolster one aspect of yourself for a bit of time. Now, of course, you're going to have to deal with the dry eye, fatigue, malaise, or whatever comes afterwards. I'm sorry about that. But, I mean, it works, so I could definitely make you a bit more charismatic for the meantime if we end up talking to.
Well, in that case, I think that's our best bet then. I'll go to the talk with the goblins.
Yeah. Although, maybe if it ain't the same thing, shit. Gallo, you said you work with people. You work with goblins too?
I can speak
Oh,
Goblin.
wait. I didn't mean like that. That goblins are You get what I mean?
Yes, I get what you mean. I can speak Goblin, and I generally have done negotiations before. However, I am a half-elf.
Yeah, let's say.
They're a little more likely to listen to Grotus, who they respect in power and might. I work with crazy people.
They
Quick
spoke
lore
common
question,
for the
Chris?
most part, too.
Yeah.
There are some of them that spoke common.
Yeah, quick lore question, Chris.
Yes.
Because I don't know what lore you're using exactly. Is this the type of world where goblins despise and kill elves, like the hobgoblins, like just fucking kill elf on sight kind of thing?
That'd be good to know.
There's definitely a bit of it, but it's not like I mean, there's of course some racial tension, but so long as you're not.
Okay, I just.
It is sorry to be specific. It is hobgoblins.
Yeah.
That dislike elves, also full orcs that dislike elves. But for the most part, like so long as you're not kind of flaunting it or keeping it hidden, like they might be racist towards you, but so long as you're not in like a hobgoblin fort or war city, you're probably okay.
Ah, good. Okay. Casual racism is always acceptable.
It's very
With this in mind,
this is D&D. There's always casual racism.
There's always casual racism. In that case, then Gullah would think about it. Just.
But it's only really hobgoblins, like bugbears and goblins. Like, well, they'll hate you like they'll hate any pinky, but.
Smooth skin.
Yeah.
Smooth skin. Yeah, in that case, he'll probably tap his chin again. Actually, if both of us go in, we're not sneaking around for anything. We're simply making negotiations.
Yeah.
It could work.
I think talking to the goblins. I mean, there's no sneaking. It's either we can convince them to attack the fort with us, or we don't. The problem, of course, being is that is going to be a huge uphill negotiation battle.
I like to have faith that it won't be. Again, we showed them compassion.
We showed them compassion. We don't kill them on sight as we would the red horns that have done so far.
Sickle.
If we come there, well.
Speaking of which, let's look over at Sickle and see what they're looking right now.
They're looking kind of impatient.
Understandable.
Alright, so are we doing this goblin raid then, or not? Because we either heighten our chances of chaos, either through fire, or through fire and goblins. Are we doing the goblin route? How far was the next camp? Would we know? No,
you didn't know. You knew about one of them, which was, I believe, 2 days down the river. Was the one you heard about?
Okay, and then we don't know where the other one is.
Also,
yeah, you know a direction. You don't know where, though.
These woods are full of them. We really just have to come across one goblin. I don't like that you laughed at that. I felt like that was...
No, you definitely could.
Well, we do
Alright.
know where one of the... We do know the location of 2 other freaking small villages based off of the survival check we had finding the main one.
Yeah, you do know approximately where they are.
Yeah, so we know approximately where they are, so we can approximately head towards one.
That's 2 days worth of travel. Are we willing to really wait that long?
How long until Hellman has to be back in town?
We were
I
given
believe it
a
was still-
week.
I think it was a week and a day.
And we've been out here.
You've been out
2 days.
here 2 days. So you still got 6 days.
So. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't. Again, this is only my suspicion, my paranoia, but I do believe that we have 7 days to get this done before any moves are actually made on their part.
That's 2 days to travel to get to the Goblin tank that we know of. 2 days to come back here. We've already been out for, what was it, another day, 2 days?
If it goes
We don't
according
know.
to plan, we will get back right on time.
Crotus
That's
looks at around and
Cutting
says,
it.
you know, at this point, I'm even worried about the reward. I mean, I thought we were doing this to save Moonstone, mostly.
I'm talking about to save a whole fucking town, because it looks like it's about to go dictatorship.
Wait, what?
If he doesn't show up, if Hellman doesn't show up, what's his name?
Aw.
Remember, guys, this is Dylan talking.
Stone.
Delphus gets the
Barstow.
whole town. Yeah, he becomes oil baron. He goes from oil baron to oil dictator.
Yeah,
And that's our problem. How?
Tyrannical oppression.
A small town.
Oppression is oppression.
I have
Brothers-
to agree with Keswick's on this one.
Grotus looks over at Gallows and goes, so your whole concern right now is to save to save him so there's not a man having a chokehold, economic chokehold on this town.
You cannot get one name right.
Yeah, I can't today. That's because that's Heath being tired. I fuck up names all the
Oh,
time
I'm
when I'm
sorry.
No,
tired.
you're good, man. I just noticed you called everybody the wrong name.
Yeah, because when I'm tired, it's the last person. It's the last name I said just comes out of my mouth.
Look, the way I look at things, which is optimistically, I think I'd like to say, is we go get the goblins. We solve their problems from the Red Horns. We save a town. We kill a manticore. And in the end, Moonstone's back in our loving embrace.
I like that plan.
Everybody wins if it goes according to plan.
Great. If we get the goblins, here's the other thing we'll have to discuss real quick. If the goblins don't join us, then what?
We walk away.
Yeah, then we're just kind of fucked. But I am an optimist.
Okay,
I can always
there's the
born-
plan.
I
We'll
go
try
just
to
burn
get-
the fort for good measure.
Repeat that?
I could always burn the fort for good measure.
When I say walk away, I mean the goblins will see that we're not hostile. We're not there to take anything of theirs. If they don't like our negotiations, they're intelligent enough. We leave.
They're scared of the manticore. They were making deals with it to get it to go away. If we promise to take care of it, we
So-
may have allies.
Exactly. So, technically speaking, it sounds like we have a net positive on that end. Being positive. Optimistic, that was the word.
So,
Optimistically.
we offer them to attack the fort together. We offer to kill the manticore for them. And in exchange, they help us attack the fort and we kill off the mercenaries. And he's just going to look around at each of you and make sure you all understand what we're doing here. The mercenaries that are protecting people back and forth from the goblin hordes that have been attacking the people on the road. I'm okay with
Mercenaries
this
coming.
plan. I'm just telling you what the situation is.
These aren't all the mercenaries. There are more in town as well. Protecting
They're
it.
all red horse.
Yeah, but I mean...
Oh yeah, no, there are more
Really?
outside of it. I'm
We're
just...
only going to kill half of them.
Be noted too that if we do this, we're gonna have to kill every red horde in that fort. Looks
Why
over at
kill
Julius
when we
very
can just
specifically.
He looks very uncomfortable.
No, you don't understand. If we're using the goblins, we are going to have to kill every Redhorn in the fort. They will kill every Redhorn in the fort. There's no negotiating the goblins to being nice about this. That much I can guarantee you.
Then why don't we just stick with our previous plan as we did in the Goblin Fort? We stealth, we distract, and we get out.
Great. Who's going to distract them?
Fire and the rest of you.
So the goal is for me, Kessex, and Xavier to stand outside the woods attacking the fort. Just 3 of us, mind you. While you 2 sneak in through the back.
You don't have to attack the fort. You have long range. So from
120
there,
feet worth of long range means we're attacking
and then
the
you
fort.
run.
Uh,
You don't have
Chris,
to
I'm
engage.
assuming that Xavier does not have anywhere near the firepower to light that on fire with a firebolt.
I
We're
mean-
looking at fireball
Oh.
or above, right?
You're looking him lighting himself up and hugging it for like a couple minutes. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I meant. Like, this is not something we can pew
Oh,
pew
no.
flee. We
A
are.
firebolt will start fires, like it will.
Could I use several scorching rays?
Yeah, you could certainly. I think Scorching Ray says it starts fires, doesn't it?
We'll check.
Yeah, generally you just need to start fires and make
Does
sure that they
not.
don't take it out.
It doesn't.
But
It does not explicitly state that
yeah,
it
if it
starts
doesn't explicitly
fire.
state, that means it doesn't catch things on fire.
Because Firebolt
Well-
does explicitly state. That
Yeah,
it
the
catches-
fireball says explicitly states it will catch things on fire.
Yeah, a flammable
What
object
if-
hit by the spell ignites if it isn't being worn or carried. Is
What
is
if I
you're
were
looking
to
for.
twin the spell while shooting it a few times?
I mean, there's definitely like some leisure. Like
I am
you know,
also
if you
going
hit
to point
enough
out.
with.
Grodus will also point out to everybody, goes, you do realize, though, fort walls, wood or not, are usually tempered to resist flames, right? Because, you know, honestly, we could just shoot it with flaming arrows if they weren't resistant to flame a little.
It's less the
Whoa.
fire and more the smoke, isn't it?
Well, this fire doesn't create much smoke to begin with, unless, well, it's on wood.
But it doesn't have
So,
to be
inevitably.
magic fire, does it?
I'm
If
thinking.
Regular fire, could you light my arrows on fire, and it could possibly...
If,
Well, that's what I was saying. You can light arrows on fire and shoot them to do the same effect, but if it was that simple, the goblins would have done it.
that's
What
fair.
is it, Xavier?
Oh, I was just saying, if we could maybe get something that would enhance the flammability. I don't know, oil or something. Something that could make it to where the fire that I start becomes a lot bigger once it gets once it hit.
I do
Alright.
have a flask of oil.
That'll help. How big was the fort wall again? Just the general feet, Chris?
It's only about maybe like a second story tall. Like it's not super large.
So it's like 20 feet tall. How wide was the
Less,
wall, though?
not 20 feet. It's probably like 15.
Okay.
Wide wise.
Length, not width. Like length. How long? Like
Oh, okay.
the area.
Yeah,
of the
I got you,
wall.
I got you.
Yeah.
The fort itself is about like a bit more than 50 square feet. So the walls would probably be, there's a bit of distance between them and the fort, probably about 20 feet out. So it'll probably be an additional, like probably be like 70 foot squared.
Yeah, we're looking at about
It's kinda
70 foot length walls.
Made of almost entirely wooden rope.
Yeah. And again, though, I know for a fact if it was as simple as burning it down, the goblins know how to use fire.
Well, I mean, I happen to know a bit about flames at least. If things get hot enough and if things get dry enough, then the walls, sure, they may have been first tempered to resist flames, but eventually it would just completely take over. It won't matter. The fire's hungry. It wants more.
If we can get a big enough flame, that can work.
Which is why I'm thinking about that oil. If we can get a whole lot more of it, then maybe we might be able to do something about it.
Okay. So, here's the plan. We try to light the fort on fire to make a distraction for I'm just seeing TPK all over this.
Well, we gotta do something. That's the thing.
Really don't. We can leave him behind.
Heard. Just heard.
If Kessex is right, like that is what is happening, Moonstone will just show up in 7 days and be like, "What the fuck, guys?"
Unfortunately, we don't. Honestly, like if Gallo knew that he'd be coming out in like 7 days, he'd be like, "Ah, he'll be fine."
Oh yeah, no, we're under the impression that he's gonna be executed. But...
Yeah.
or he's already dead. Yeah, we have no idea what's happening.
It sucked in there. They all they did was make me sleep. Bread was
That was your fault, my dude.
All I ate was bread and water. They didn't even change my kitty litter.
Oh, fuck you.
Come on, man. Okay,
Listen,
Dude.
it was. I
Alright,
almost got
so-
away with it.
You
yeah.
almost did.
So are we
Almost.
thinking we want to make a physical fire? Not a magical one.
Well,
Honestly,
magic
our
will
best
do
bet
the
is
trick
like
this way.
3-prong attacks. He looks over at Xavier and Kessex. If all three of us start launching fires at it, maybe we can start the fort on fire. The problem is, it's not going to be a hit and run. We're going to have to get enough shots off to light the thing on fire. If we just poo and then run, they'll get it out in seconds.
Kessex will rub his foot in the dirt a little bit and goes, "The goblins would help do that."
Again, Kessex, not against the goblins. But if we get the goblins on board, they're going to kill everybody.
Well, I suppose there is also another option. Kind of rubs the back of his neck, glancing at the blocked entrance. There's the diplomatic approach.
Sure. And what do we have to offer?
By the way, are you guys in the tunnel talking?
No,
No,
we
we
left.
left.
We've been walking out of the tunnel
Okay.
this whole time.
I wasn't sure if this was like if you guys were still planning on. Okay, cool.
Oh no,
That's
no,
fine.
we gave up on that door ages ago.
No, cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to check to make sure where I knew you guys were. So you
Yeah,
guys
we're
are
probably
outside
the cave by now for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, I will keep note of that.
yeah, because
And then. Sorry,
Have they-
I'm going. Yeah.
Actually, as far as that's concerned, Grodus is going to start walking away from the cave too, and just start heading back towards town slightly. Just keep
Sure.
walking
Couple
back
hours
towards. Yeah, just as we're walking, because there's no point of staying in this area because it's not going to help us, and we're just waiting for an ambush, and he knows it.
Xavier just
Kessex
kinda
is
taps-
looking for goblin tracks while we're walking.
Xavier's just gonna go ahead and start tapping his hand. He's like,
Sure, roll a survival
you ain't let go of me yet. Jeez.
Oh, sorry there, Xavier.
Again.
17. You find tracks that are probably about a day old that seem to be mostly on the very outer ridges of kind of where the cave was. Not a day old, 2 days old.
In other words, the army that attacked them.
Yeah, that was my thought too.
Yeah.
Gallo would look at Julius and, as Gorda said, again, I already put that out there. We don't have much to offer, unless you have something in mind. Because personally, I'd rather talk it out and get it over with.
I'll say this. I'll say there's one thing that is a possibility that they aren't thinking of. Everyone roll an intelligence check will say DC of 14. Just in the concept of
time
having
for
Kessex. Kessex was the one I wanted to hit this.
It's time for my big brain moment.
Oh, I also got
guys.
it.
You also got it.
Yup, there it is.
I'm sorry, man. Gallo gets
Oh no!
You think about it for a second when thinking about something to offer. Kessex, and the rest of you to an extent that got the 14.
To an extent, yes.
I got
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, no, you'd kind of be able to put these together as well. You would know there's a reward for that core. Or there's the discussion of one.
Well, that's what somebody brought that up already.
Oh, somebody did? I missed that.
Yeah, somebody said we're getting 2 platinum that we could offer them.
Oh, that's not that, though. That's for getting Hellman back.
Oh
The
no, that's right. I
reward-
made that mistake. Because
Yeah. The reward for the creature driving the goblins to the roads was discussed but never finalized. But you know that Delta's Farstone is willing to offer a price for the creature's head.
Huh.
Alright, when Gallo turns to ask Julius that question, then He'll kind of think it over for a bit, and then it's just like, well, why not offer to kill the manticore and offer them the reward?
Do goblins care about money?
I think
The-
None.
he's referring
They
to buying
could.
back our tabaxi friend.
Can buy
And
back our
Hillman.
tabaxi back and Hellman, and if they want to, they can bring one of their party
He's gonna
members
shake his
with
head again.
us.
We're not getting Hellman out of this. Don't fool yourself. If that mission is over unless we're going in to kill him. Don't fool
Again,
yourself otherwise.
This
Gallo
is
100%
under
right
the
on that.
assumption.
See, now you're doing it.
Heckin'.
I did.
No, there's nothing wrong with putting things out on the table. When I asked for compensation on Hellman's end, we could have very well been doing this for free, but I put it there. We will see. If anything, we are buying Moonstone back. But we can negotiate the head, as Julius has said, and we'll see if they will take it or not. And if they don't believe us, they can let at least a couple of their men to help us out. That's only more on their end.
Wait,
Right.
you're asking the men from them helping us hunt down the manticore.
If they're willing and if they don't believe. But otherwise, we will take the manticore ourselves, bring the head back, buy Moonstone, and possibly Hellman. But we need to put the offer on the table for them to begin with.
Grotus is just rubbing his
Hoover.
temples. It's fair that they might be willing to buy back the tabaxi. On the other hand, my biggest concern is that before we even have the money and trying to negotiate this way, they'll go, great, go kill the manticore if we're lucky and we'll come back and negotiate the price. On the other hand, if we go in there with nothing, what prevents them from just killing all of us and taking what we got?
Because they didn't in the first place.
Exactly. To be fair, they didn't do that when we were asking for the town, and they didn't do that after the fight.
That was also before we tried to interfere with their business.
As I said, after the fight.
After the fight,
That's-
they were clearly losing and didn't have a chance of winning.
We will put out there we just want the tabaxi back. We want Moonstone back. We will tell them we were looking for Hellman. And we are technically doing them a service by bringing something back to them. We walk to the camp, we walk out.
Grotus scratches.
Spankings either way.
Grotus shakes his head. I don't even care anymore. Do what you think is best.
Less bloodshed, that's what you wanted in the first place, isn't it?
Since it is
Are you asking
my...
Grotus that, or are you asking Xavier that?
Grotus.
Grotus looks over and she goes, I honestly didn't care about the bloodshed. I wanted less bloodshed because I was trying my best to work along with all of you. To be honest, I don't care if we kill everybody in the fort. I've said it 3 times now. You want the goblins? I'm okay with that. I just want success here.
Since I am the one that is having the issue with killing these men, I'm perfectly fine with volunteering to go and talk to them.
If I'm to be perfectly honest, I don't completely trust you with that. I'm coming with you.
Then, if that goes wrong, it will be 2 of us either dead or captured. It's not worth it. I can go. And he's like, he has a very firm face, but you can see like a little shake to his knees.
Grotus looks over at
Julius.
Julius, and Grotus shakes his head. You know what? They don't actually know the other 3 are with us. Julius, Grotus is just grimacing, like, making a fist at us. We're gonna have to stick with the original plan that we did last time, and I'll have to go with you.
Again, you're more willing to go with the... He kind of like makes a face. Easier plan of
Oh,
just...
you think that's the easier plan?
Oh yes, it is simply...
Suffer.
There's no easier plan. There is a plan A and a plan B. If this does not work out,
And a
we
plan
are
G.
going to... He will look at Kessex, like, his head will snap in his direction. He will just glare at him, just like...
Kessis is
now.
giving you the dopiest smile, too.
He turns his head back to Julius and Grotus. We have plans. This is the least lethal plan. If it doesn't work out, we go get the goblins.
Exactly, and if you're going to do the goblin plan afterwards, you need Grotus. So, I will be the only one to go.
And how are you going to word this? Because that's what worries me the most. I will tell you now, you're not the greatest at negotiating.
Greatest what?
You're not the greatest at negotiating. Your plan worked the last time, yes. But I've seen better. What are you going to say? Plan ahead.
Basically, I will say that... So, I understand that you have a companion of mine, and I apologize greatly for his attempts at infiltration. I tried to talk him out of it, but he's stubborn. I'm sure we've gotten to know him if he's still alive. Kind of winces at that.
That
And
actually
so, I
brings
would...
up- Sorry. Actually brings up an interesting point, but go ahead, sorry.
So, I would like to offer the opportunity to offer you more coin in exchange for my companion. Again, assuming if he is still alive. If he is not alive, then me being here is a little awkward. I am rambling. Anyway,
Where's the coin coming from? Is it the coin or is it the manticore head?
Coin, well, the manticore head. I'm sure you've heard the reward on this manticore. I am willing to obtain it for you. I think this is a win-win scenario for you, because on one hand, you are trading a man for a great deal of coin. On the other, I go, I die, I'm not a problem.
Alright. Let me just say, don't ramble. These people here especially don't seem like they like ramble. Keep it concise. You tell them you're looking for your companion. In the case that they ask if one of them recognizes you, because you did leave them to come back to the fort, possibly. That seems to be where it leads. You did let his life go. You had the opportunity of ambush, but you didn't. You're not here to create havoc. You will buy back the Tabaxi, who they have nothing to gain from. Give them manticore.
Ain't they mercenaries? They like money, right?
They like money, so keep it short. Don't even mention those other mercenaries unless they bring it up. They have a prisoner that is useless. In their case, they have nothing to gain from him, unless Tabaxi are, expensive or something to buy off, which I don't think... What are they? They're Tabaxi, since they are, rare, is there a possibility that
Are Tabaxi
Moonstone
rare?
could be sold? Yeah, you said that they don't leave their home area often, so it's rare to find Tabaxi. So is it possible that, Moonstone might be sold off? or something. He just wants to put every option out there to make
The theory
sure.
of it is possible. You would know in all parts of the Court of the Northern Winds, slavery's super illegal.
Okay, which is where they are right now.
Even like prison, prison work kind of thing, like working for free because you're imprisoned, is not often thought to be the best. There's still a lot of places that do it, especially for mining. But you would know there's nowhere within the court that would be fine with slavery.
Okay, yeah. So then continuing. They won't sell him off. He's kind of useless otherwise unless they recruit him because he's useless. He's useful there, but otherwise...
You need to sail quite a ways to go anywhere that would purchase him.
Okay, yeah. So we will trade their prisoner for a manticore head, which is, like you said, an even bigger win for them and a win for us. We will prove ourselves, bring the head back, get Moonstone, leave. And if we decide to go for Hellman, we can, but do put it out there that we are looking for him, it seems, because you had mentioned... Actually, no. You didn't mention Hellman during your first fight. He taps his chin and looks at the others. Do we put Hellman on the table and let them know what our objective is?
Not now. I think we would go back to square one with Hellman after this,
Yes, I think
Alright.
that's pushing it.
with Plan G.
But is my explanation clear? Keep it concise. Don't put anything unless they ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I am able to aid y'all in that.
And he can give you extra boost.
Alright.
Extra boost in what?
Oh, make you a little bit more friendly, charismatic seeming, whatnot.
Oh, it's possible to become even more charming. That's good to know.
Indeed. We'll have even more of a glow than you already do.
Oh, right, thank you.
He, like, bats a hand at him.
It
I
does
should
the
mention,
same.
though, that the entire time Xavier's been kind of next to Grotus and just has, like, a hand placed on his shoulder, just like, it's okay.
Funny you should say that. If you hadn't had a hand on his shoulder, I was about to say Grotus is literally just going to walk away right now.
Also, side note, guys, but when Chris said that we had an option to leave Hellman, I didn't think this would be the way.
Alright. I suppose I go back in there and knock on the door. Kind of tilts his head.
I think you're better off going to the front gate there.
Go to the front gate in the same area that we had met them the first time.
Well, they're probably going... How do we know they're not going to act as if they have no idea what we're talking about?
They'll
That's
do
why
that
you
either
explained
way,
to them.
honestly. I mean,
I
they gotta...
it-
Sorry.
It's sort of hard to say, hey, we have no idea what you're talking about at the front door and then in the literal secret cave.
Let's put it this way. If they're gonna play that route anyways, they'd probably just kill you.
Are mercenaries usually this troublesome?
No, they run off of money. I would know.
Hence why
They
they're
won't
looking-
do anything that's out of their pay.
This is a whole
That's
ass
what I'm saying.
Right.
No, Moonstone is useless to them because he's not working for them. They're probably, I don't know, they could kill them if they wanted. We're just asking for his body at this point. But they won't do anything that's out of their pay. Currently, we're not technically in their way because they don't know what our goal is, but they've seen us before. The Minotaur has seen all of us together, and it's
Grotus
very
actually
rare to find a
starts
tabaxi.
Scratching his head. You know, we are assuming they don't know what our goal is. We have no idea how far Moonstone got before they caught him.
This is definitely a walk in the dark, that's for sure.
But that's the thing. They know a tabaxi was traveling with us. And we know that they probably have him because he hasn't gotten out for the past hour and the past time that we've been talking. We haven't gotten a message from him because he would otherwise.
You know what? In any case, go ahead. Grotus, just... You know what, Julius? Go through the secret entrance, knock on the door, see if they'll let you in. We'll give
Or
you
the
2
secret
hours.
entrance.
Because apparently he thinks it's the better option.
Then the front gate.
I'm just saying as a precaution, because we don't know if they're going to pretend that, again, they have no idea what we're talking about.
No. Because the secret entrance was guarded. The fact that we were able to get in makes us hostile. If we go through the front gate, we are approaching them like any other traveler as we did the first time. That's less hostility towards us.
I'm thinking at this point we're just kind of going over the same semantics. We going through with this or not?
Well, we are going through with it. Is more in regard of which entrance.
The front gate. We are not supposed to be in this cave. If you want them to like you, do it by, and he puts air quotes, their term. Not here.
Grotus looks at her. Besides, what good is it going to say that they have no idea what we're talking about if we're offering an award of money to buy him back, right?
Alright.
Okay. I guess Julius wanders to the front gate.
All right.
Well, the rest of us, stay
Yeah, what are the rest of you doing?
far the fuck away from that scenario.
Oh no!
Okay.
Before he runs off, because how far is the front gate exactly?
It's going to take it probably a good 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, it does take a bit longer because you don't have to travel through the wood when you're going through the underground passage.
Gallo's gonna follow, and he's gonna stay in where Julius is in line of sight and shots. He's going to hide just in case.
Sure. Let's roll stealth.
Is it possible maybe for Xavier to walk them halfway before heading back?
You could.
Oh dear.
Oof.
Okay, so he's just gonna walk. If he's not being stealthy, he'll just stay by a tree then. Just in the distance.
Okay.
Well,
And he'll just cross his arms then for now.
yeah, no, it was just. I suppose that Xavier would walk like a decent bit, about half the distance with the rest of you all before he just kind of go ahead and just. Well, I believe in y'all. Just be safe, alright?
Wait, what do you mean by...
Hmm?
What do you mean by your... I assume that's a term for multiple people, yes?
Being safe.
Wait, what? Yeah, be safe. Just making sure. Right?
Both
of y'all.
He looks at the other two. It is agreed that I'm going alone, right?
Yes, you're going alone.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, right.
I like to keep watch, and just in case something happens, but if you prefer. However, the last time we let someone alone, well, that's why we're...
If they spot you, they're going to think that you're a threat.
The fact of the matter is, he's going in alone, everybody. There is no other option here. He either goes in alone, or he goes in or we go in a pair. There is no sneaking or anything else, because the moment you see it, negotiations are done.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, maybe Gallo could come with you, or I don't know.
No, that's 2 people off of the chopping block, so...
Well, you don't want him to be alone, right?
I don't, but he prefers that he be taken instead of both of us, which makes sense.
Plus,
So,
honestly,
I
if
guess.
Gallo's taken, he's the only one who can actually sneak in and get him out.
I will go. Look, they're not gonna just let us walk out with Moonstone on the off chance we come back with a Manticore head. I have something to offer as a lien.
I do too.
Which is... And he looks at both of them.
That is my business.
Same answer.
Oh, yeah, you know what? At this point, Grotus just throws up his arms and starts walking away from the group.
Hey! You
No.
start following him.
Julius, just go. We'll wait. We'll give you an hour. You don't come back, because it shouldn't take that long. You meet us back here.
Yes.
And by here, I'm assuming we are away from the cave now, so then we don't look suspicious. Because we've been walking towards the camp.
Sure. With that, so just to be clear, is it just Julius going?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will say that Xavier will use one of the
Yep. Easily
enhanced
enough.
abilities for the group.
All right.
When Julius turns back to the group to kind of walk forward, he's gonna fiddle with one of his gloves, kind of feeling out underneath the specific ring that's there, and kind of use that to try to strengthen his resolve just a little bit.
Sure thing. With that, you take the half-decent long walk towards where you know the fort to be. It feels only longer for there's this bit of a almost churning in your stomach. There's a nervousness to it. I don't think anyone would doubt that, especially with the many possibilities of what could happen. But you continue nonetheless. Forward and forward you march until finally you reach where the forest splits apart, and in a clearing you see the fort. Clearly, with a bit more defenses than before, as you notice a few men, assumingly catch glances of you immediately. Crossbows are raised, and a signal is given, a sharp whistle, to others in the air.
Julius
And
will...
that's where we'll end for this session.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
Last piece of one last proposal to your boss. I think he might be rather interested in.
You call out loud enough that you hope Squash, who was, as I was messaging Michael privately, is now the one in charge of guarding the cells, due to the fact that she was the one that lost the keys in the first place. You kind of see the door open, and there's just this Minotaur glare towards you. What?
Well, we're gonna be stuck here for a little bit. Might as well be doing something. I got a unique set of skills that could be a bit more useful and far more entertaining than just sitting here for a while.
There is anger in the stare. And with a heavy... she closes the door with all the strength that massive Minotaur form can manage. There's honestly like a bit of a shake to the room. You don't hear her leave.
Yeah, worth a shot. Alright then.
Woo!
You look across, Hellman is still fast asleep.
Damn, what do you do here? Do I have any idea of how he put him to sleep?
I'll let you make... You're unfortunately a bit away from him now. I'll say you can make an investigation or Arcana check at disadvantage.
I'll make
Say a DC of 16. Yeah, I'm sorry. At this, you're at a distance from him. The little amount of time you got to look over him, the panic of the situation. You can assume that he's definitely, if he's alive, he's not unconscious. He's not, knocked out. You get a sense it might be something magical, for almost certain, but you can't put your finger onto specifically what he has done to him. Just that the effect is most likely until something is triggered, or until perhaps maybe he's, damaged in a way, he's probably going to stay asleep.
Alright.
I hope you all enjoyed. I understand it was a stressful session.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we're actually done now?